Turmoil in Toronto. Our hockey team is without a general manager. Our basketball team has no coach. Our soccer team spends with no end, gaining little results. But hey, the Argos are defending champs. The future of MLSE teams is in jeopardy, while the Giants up top bicker over underground 5G. Do we need a hero or simply a man with a plan to give them back their mojo? Walking down Bremner, our baseball team is no better. Not enough offense, bad management, and some poor pitching execution. Simply not deserving to be crowned beasts of the AL East. Just when things were looking up, there's more uncertainty than ever. But hey, at least the weather's warming up. Time to hang up the sweaters. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, I'm Cruz.
And this is The House That Happens, the 50th episode of The House That Happens.
Sponsored, of course, by the one and only Shoey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, correct?
Voted 4 times the best dive bar in the GTA, though I'd be willing to bet it's the best dive bar on the planet.
If you can see the crowd tonight, you'd probably say that's something in the air that way. In case everyone knows, we should give them full disclosure. We've decided that we're going to record in the belly of the beast,
yes,
so
sir.
to speak.
First time.
So we may have a little bit of seepage. We may have a little bit of people yelling over our shoulders because they all think they know everything when they really know nothing. But we are in the heart of Leaf Nation, or perhaps the heart of Ford Nation. Just remembering, I'm going to shout out now one more time before we start the show that The House That Happens is endorsing Anthony Fury for Mayor of Toronto. How was your week, buddy?
Pretty good. How about yours?
It was not too bad. All 4-day weeks are better than 5-day weeks. Don't you agree?
I would 100% agree. And I saw your Facebook post about the candidate you're endorsing as well. So.
Oh yeah, I'm done that. I was actually to come out to go to a rally. I may do that later because I find in the annals of politics, people don't really pay attention unless it's the last 2 weeks, or you're in America, which is now going to be a 3-ring circus for the next 18 months before they get another president. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. In Canada and the States, we're kind of at like opposite sides of stupidity with politics. Like here, it's like not enough coverage in the States is way too much. Way
exactly.
too much.
But speaking of presidents and the top of organization, it was interesting that we started the show with a little talk about MLSE. Now, we don't want to pump anybody else's tires, but there was a interesting article that was written by a very prominent, we'd say, sports reporter who's been doing this in the city for 40 or 50 years. I often say that they probably have some inside information that we'll never have because we're the house that happens. Remember, we always represent the fans. However, we do take a look around what's happening to each of the team, and there has to be said for something about a what would you call it, a shaky structure at the top?
Oh, sure.
I'm looking at it this way. If we want to start here, being in Leaf Nation, in the heart of it, what has gone on is the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs don't even have a general manager right now.
No,
you know
they
what
do
I mean?
not.
They don't have a general manager, and the Toronto Raptors don't have a coach. We have a little bit of, what would you call it? Confusion at the top when you're figuring who is running MLSE. For example, we got Serge here. Is in our Serge. Give a shout out. This is our 50th show, buddy. Say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? Everybody, doing well out there?
We're all doing well, but one of the things we want to talk of, Serge, and he should talk about this, being a season ticket holder, one of the problems with MLSE is they should have had more than one championship. They only got one, and now they're the highest paid team in the
MLS.
the MLS, and they're the worst team. How do you feel about that, Serge? You paying money for tickets. How did it fall off the cliff so quickly?
Hey, you know what? I keep the tickets because I make money on them.
I agree.
That's it.
And you're a proprietor, and I do think that an establishment like this.
Anyway, and their only MLSE champion is the. You're just saying one, right? You're saying the Raptors, right? You forget about the Argos.
No, we're going to get to the Argos in a minute. But when FC won couple years ago, they should have actually won 2 or 3.
100%.
They had that.
Well, they went to what? 3 finals.
They went to 3 finals and won. They puked up the one game to Seattle.
Yeah.
Remember that bad game against Seattle? They should have had. That was bad. But our point being, Serge, is that we often say, like, let's just start with this. We don't know because there's so many rumors, but let's go back to say last summer. Once upon a time, when a team wins a championship, someone's got to come out for the ownership and shake hands and do the trophy. You know that. We know that, guys. It appeared to be that Larry Tannenbaum was that guy. He was the guy when the Raptors
makes
won.
sense. He's the chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board. Okay, now we have a rumor that we wouldn't be having this conversation about Dubas being fired. He put the contract on the table. My question is, who pulled the contract off?
Rogers and Bell, we know that.
Okay, we know Rogers, but my point is that there has to be somebody with a hammer. You know what I'm saying, Serge? Who had the hammer? And one of the things that come up in the article this week, which I just think it's a bizarre coincidence, but Tim Lewicki got pushed out the door because they said of his ego.
He should have been still here.
Okay, that's what we're getting at, because seems to be that since Lewicki's gone, there seems to be a little. Would you call it a power struggle, or maybe somebody without direction, organization without direction?
I mean, I would guess it's a power struggle. I mean, Rogers and Bell, they're two giants that are literally competing against each other
constantly
in the telemedia kind of field, right? And I mean, when they bought the 75% stake of MLSE, everyone kind of figured one of them would kind of push the other one out by the end. So are things starting to hit ahead now? I don't know, possibly. Well, it's hard to say without that inside information, right?
Exactly, but we're just going by what we're seeing by, okay? So what I'm saying is that the Toronto Blue Jays are a completely different entity. And you can notice that Shapiro and Aiken seem to be able to make the decisions they want when they want to make them.
Oh, yeah, they have full autonomy.
Exactly. So I want to know this. We know rumors went on, and they're always saying that Dubas was the guy in the room. I can't believe that Shanahan wasn't in the room for those decisions. Come on. So if there's
100%.
Don't you agree?
100%.
So they're not going to let the youngest guy in. I mean, Dubas is a smart guy. Whatever your opinion about the guy is, let's not go there.
But Shanahan never blocked any trades.
We don't know. We don't know, Serge.
That.
Okay, so now
there's reports they block transactions. Is that trades? Is that signings? We don't know.
Transactions because you hear the thing coming out about the agent and Dubas.
Okay, we know that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to lead. I think that's kind of like a clickbait kind of thing, because if you read like the articles, it kind of sounds like there's not going to be anything really going down.
No, just what it really sounds like, and I think the best thing coming out of that is the Players Association should be the ones that are quiet, because they ended up with the advantageous contracts.
Oh, for sure.
So if they're going to stir this shit up, all they're doing is going to be putting the shit on their own shoes. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to go down the road. I'm just saying, like, when you look at the Toronto Raptors, guys, apparently Masai makes the decisions. All he has to do is he walks into the room, he sits down at the table, and he says, okay, I want Kawhi. He got Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Or he makes these decisions. Now, I'm going, does it work that way with the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I think it does, but I think it's a bigger problem there, because how long did it take for Masai to get his contract, right?
Oh, agreed. But then, you know what?
Well, he came back with more money. He wanted more money, which wasn't the issue. He sort of wanted Shanahan out of there.
If he wanted Shanahan out of here, that's a big problem, because that's a huge problem. Because if, in my opinion,
he wanted more power.
Well, I think he kind of wanted to push Shanahan kind of like
higher up.
We're essentially out of hockey ops, right?
Hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, but
you know what, hey guys, I got Jamie here. He's gonna sit in for me for a second.
Okay, no problem.
We've had Jamie on before.
Yes, 100%. Mr. Jamie Freeman, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, we'll get to that. Anyways, the main issue.
You're gonna talk, do their stuff.
Shh. Now we got major seepage, but we expected that we're going to be live and in the air. My point being is, somewhere around the line, I don't care what organization it's going to be, that there has to be somebody with the hammer. With the hammer. When you got too many Chiefs and not enough Indians, you got MLSE. That's what it's starting to smell like to me, especially with this situation now. This situation where you have to understand that when they had the end of season, Toronto, let's cry because we're going to the golf course or whatever the case may be, you heard people talking very positive about continuing this team, what they have to add or what they have to subtract. Suddenly Dubas gets fired and you haven't heard from none of the players. So all these players that said they're going to stay and they're happy to do it again, all this conversation is gone out the window. So what are we going to have here? In my humble opinion, which is worth about half a beer or what was left in the dredge from the night before, I'm a belief that this is the first step in the Toronto Maple Leafs going backwards.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, if they throw the money at the guys like we think they will.
Okay, so you got 4 guys at the top. You got to figure out what you're going to do by the July 1st.
Well, I don't think all 4 of them can stay around.
Okay,
I'm
Tavares,
on that.
You know what? You know Tavares is? I love Tavares the best. You know why? The guy came here. I think the Islanders actually offered him a percentage more money. If you go back to that contract.
He wanted to come home.
He wanted to come home.
And
so he came home, and they gave him a no-trade contract, correct?
Yep.
Now it's a couple years later, and then you come and say, hey, oh, shit.
Well, no, nothing got touched.
No, nothing got touched. As long as you can get Jamie. That's just me.
I got a little.
I got a little bit too, but we're okay. This is happens when we go live. The equipment didn't get it. Anyways, I thought it was great that Tavares said no. Why did the guy sign a no-trade contract and 2 years later you're going to come in and say, hey, man, you want to move? You know what I'm going to tell them, right?
There's no way JT's leaving. There's no way Marner's leaving. The only one I would say might be Nylander. That goes.
I would think that's a mistake, though, because he's the most affordable guy. I think
he is affordable, but I think what they can get for him is a little bit more youth and maybe a little bit more youth energy.
Okay, agreed. But now, here's the problem, Jamie. Yeah. All these contracts, there has to be decisions made by July 1st. Does Austin Matthews' big contract kick in? Does Mariners' no trade kick in? And Nylander's only go to 10 team. Yeah. This all has to be decided by July 1st, and they suddenly kick the general manager to the curb. Don't you think that generates a little bit of a
uneasy feeling?
Concern.
I don't care. I'm not a Leaf fan. I'm just saying that I think firing Dubois has made the team take a step backwards.
Well, I guess it depends on who they fill that seat with.
Well, no. Ultimately, who was already making the decisions? Was Dubas just a numbers guy?
I think he was a bit of a numbers guy, like the old baseball. What is it?
Analytics.
Yeah.
I hate analytics, by the way, Jamie.
And it's good in certain situations because he made some amazing deals.
Yeah.
But the problem is that there's certain the intangibles that you have to take into consideration. By just matching numbers and making numbers work doesn't necessarily get you all the things to line up.
We've discussed that, man. No, I agree with that. We discussed that at baseball. You can spend all you want. Doesn't mean you're going to win.
If you remember the New York Rangers did that before, and they tried to buy their way into
the Leafs tried to too, but they couldn't because of the teachers' fund. But that's another story.
Yeah, but the problem with Dubas though is
not Niedermeyer. Stumpy.
Yep.
And those guys.
Yep. That was back in the day. What were you going to say there, Andrew?
No, I was going to say that the problem with letting Dubas go at this point is that he's a bright young guy. And you just feel like his best years are yet to come, right?
Yes.
Especially that I've said this before, that end of season press conference that he had, you really kind of felt like the hardening, the maturity of Kyle Dubas really shining through.
Okay, so here's my take on that. I got a completely different take.
Let's hear it.
I think that he went on there and looked all sad, and I really want to be here and let me take care of my family, understanding that the fan base is insane, the media is off the charts, he doesn't have full autonomy, and Pittsburgh and
potentially Ottawa.
And Ottawa are looking for a bright new GM, especially in Ottawa with a brand new management team. Ownership. Wouldn't they take Dubas?
Well, hold on, because Ottawa, there's still a lot of variables there. Pittsburgh, we know, is hard after Dubas.
Oh, yeah, we got that.
Well, and Crosby, apparently.
Yeah. It's Fenway Sports, right? That's going to be hard to say no to.
Now,
So what do you mean, though? So what did they're saying, the way that Toronto treated, now, Jamie, look at it this way. Everyone's going, he said something on a press conference. Shanny didn't like it, and they kicked him to the curb. Did they kick him to the curb, or they kicked him to a soft landing for more money in Pittsburgh with more autonomy?
Well, beside all the talk, was he out anyways, and this was just a way to make it...
Well, before you got on here, and I don't know you know this, but last summer, Tannenbaum put a contract on the table.
Yeah.
Somebody pulled it off. Who pulled it off?
Well, we know who. Rogers and Bell.
So someone went above him, and that's the main gist of this little take right here now is we're saying, if that was the case, what if Dubas was saying, I don't want to get rid of all those defensemen. I'm happy I just got McCabe and I got O'Reilly. We need more guys. Trade more. Because my theory was, if you were on the show, that when they made all those trades, I told my good friend Mr. Milani here, I said, this is the beginning of the end of the Leafs season because they changed too much. It wouldn't come together.
They wouldn't have made it past Tampa without those trades, though. Come on.
We'll never know.
What? Rasmus Sandin and Pierre Engvall would have saved them against Tampa? Stop it.
I love Sandin.
Sandin was good. Engvall, he's a fourth line guy. He's a dime a dozen.
And he shied away from the big moments. I find he had that 6'4". He had this huge frame, and he always shied away from the physicality.
So I'm going to tell you this. Then.
Paul was a big kid, and he should have been hammering guys all season long.
Well, he's gone this summer.
He's got to be gone, and he was one of Dubas' guys. They held him and protected him.
But that
was a terrible idea.
Okay, wait a second. Awful. That was an organization thing because they worked him through the system. He came through the Marlies, no whole 9 yards. That was all.
Maybe he'll do better somewhere else, but right now he is a total bust.
Okay, right, yeah, so am I. Okay, I'm going to ask you this, buddy.
Yeah.
Think about 2 years ago when Austin Matthews in the playoffs, and Montreal just jacked him around like a little bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Easy.
2 years. It's 2 years later now. Did you see one of your toughest players out there? Matthews had nothing to be ashamed about in these playoffs.
Well, Matthews played a great. He played solid two-way game.
Yes,
but,
which he didn't do before. So wait, my point is that big boy that you said to Anaheim at 6'4", how couldn't it be his coming out? Maybe he would have got tougher.
Who's this?
What's his name? Anglim that you said
Engvall?
was yeah. How do you know? How do you know he couldn't got tougher?
Because what was there to prove it? Okay, Matthews.
We can't prove it.
No, hold on. But with Matthews, we saw the changing of his game. He became more of that two-way force this
Yes,
season. Engvall,
exactly.
it was the same old. I don't buy that he would have turned off all of a sudden this playoffs as opposed to the other
You're
playoffs.
expecting
No.
a guy like Engvall, who's a fourth-line guy, to shine at. I mean,
No,
we
I
have
just
guys.
want
He's a good
him-
penalty killer.
I mean,
I'll give
yes,
him that.
that's what I'm saying.
we
No,
had
want
a
him.
Chari who was phenomenal.
Oh, and what
They don't
did
make
he
it
do?
past
He-
Tampa without him.
Okay,
And, yeah, exactly.
okay, maybe,
he was,
but
he was
you know
fast. He had wheels, and same with
He
Jan
hits.
Crook.
Okay, so what are you
Jan
gonna
Crook
do?
was fantastic too.
Do you really think that Toronto was like meshed by the end of the season? By the end of the playoffs?
No. They
No,
moved
but
around
they didn't
too
even-
much.
They didn't even know what their lineup was going into the fifth game in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
You don't know what your lineup is? Give me a
Granted,
break.
they did run into the juggernaut of
What juggernaut?
of-
No, they
of
didn't.
Tampa.
They got
Or not Tampa,
out-coached.
sorry, Florida Panthers.
They got out-coached and they got bitch slapped. They weren't tough enough.
The Panthers wiped and walked all over Boston.
No, they didn't. That was a close series. What happened was...
They're not the last three games.
No, Boston, man. Hey, listen, number one. Let's say anything good about Boston. I'm glad those guys are gone. You
But
know
here's
my,
okay, but like,
Boston
don't you
was
think
a
this?
house of cards that was supposed to just walk their way through, and somebody went,
Okay,
And
I
they went
felt
flat.
better.
But don't you think the conference finals kind of changes the equation a little bit? Because we were talking up Carolina, especially
Huge.
you all season.
I was, and I jumped off the
Florida
bandwagon.
Just steamrolled them.
Yeah.
4 games.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say steamrolling because the games
Okay,
are super close.
okay,
They
but
were one-
but what were we saying in the Leaf series? Oh, the Leafs outplayed Florida.
Oh, no,
Guess
no,
what? You
no,
lost
no.
in 5.
They lost. They played a couple of games, but they were out-toughed. The thing about this series, Carolina back and forth, there was about 3 or 4 different bounces, and we should be going on. The drag about that is that was great hockey. The Carolina-Florida was great hockey. Now it's over because it was so close that one team went. That happens.
Wow.
That was like last year with Edmonton and Calgary,
Yeah.
remember? What an amazing series, over in 4 games because all the bounces went one way. That's what I'm saying. And Jamie, if you don't know this, and I'm kicking myself in the head, I was calling Carolina at the All-Star break. I couldn't stop, and then I got scared and jumped off the bandwagon. Basically.
I mean, I think that's enough.
They did look good, but I mean, yeah, just.
But that's enough because we're going to get on playoffs before we go. We just want to think about MLSE. Is that another thing we've got to talk about here? Is
Well, I
that
want to talk about the candidates for the job.
okay? Then
Yeah.
okay, who do you think?
Well, Tree Living and Scott Mellenby seem to be the top candidates.
You know what I hate about that?
Why?
A bunch of other retreads. If they were
Not Scott Mellenby. He's like
Okay,
he was
so-
the number 2 in St. Louis. I mean, he's on
Okay,
the
so
up.
maybe this is his opportunity.
And Tree
to go-
Living, I thought, did a fantastic job in Calgary. By all accounts, he was held back by management. He did not want to hire Daryl Sutter. We know that.
Okay, that's a fact. And then Sutter won that power struggle, obviously.
Even
now
though,
they're both
even though
gone.
that was the most bizarre.
I got to show you guys a quick meme. Somebody will have to read it on just to let
Oh
everybody
my
else.
God! Ryan Reynolds has been hired as GM of the Leafs.
Oh, that would just be
That's
great.
hilarious.
That would be
That's
great.
so
I
good.
saw that and started dying.
That is, he would probably be good. But okay, you got those 2 candidates. I'm saying, okay, I'll give you credit
But
here.
Shanahan did say he wants someone with experience. Like I've
Okay.
heard Mike Gillis has an outside chance too. I don't really buy that, especially with the way he got frustrated with the media there in Vancouver at the end.
No, I don't
Yeah.
see him coming here either because there's more media. He won't handle it. He'll snap.
I think Shirelli and Bergevin would just get murdered if they got hired.
I hope you bring Bergevin in here. I
Not
hope you do,
happening.
and I hope he does the same mess he had in Montreal. Why do you think I was glad to see him
Well,
go.
I know you were. He would swing for the fences, and sometimes you strike out. That's the problem with Bergevin.
He struck out quite a few times.
Oh,
okay.
I know. I've seen his trade history.
He should have been fired anyway. But then we had that run to the finals, which was.
But he was done right after that, anyways.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
He should have been. He should have been gone. But anyways, I'm
But
hoping.
I'm just sick of the Leafs being a stepping stone to these teams going to the finals. So
Get used to it.
Oh,
Get
come
used to
on.
it. I'm sorry because we're going to get back. Now wait a second. This is my point. I'm going to give you something here. Do you know that Masai was the most sought after assistant coach when he was in Denver with George Karl?
yeah.
So with that in mind, we could see if Scott Mellanby, could he be the messiah of hockey, where he just needed his chance to step forward and show his thing?
You need a good hockey mind, and I think that's
one
of the
Mellanby
things.
does. Mellanby, I heard him talk. He's
I mean, St. Louis has got a good program, so if he's the assistant there, I trust that.
Yeah, but how did they fall off so quickly? Salary cap shit got them too.
I mean, the Pietrangelo thing, I think it all comes back to that. They should have got that guy locked in.
Yeah, well, and now look at him going for a Stanley Cup.
I know.
You know that's what it is?
That's you sign up for Torrey Krug and Justin Falk, and you don't bring back your captain. That's I don't know who to pin that on, but that was just a bizarre move. But I don't buy that like this get used to Leafs being a stepping stone, because the Raptors were this for years with LeBron.
Okay,
Tampa got swept 4 games.
Okay,
and
so
then they went
Colorado.
on to become a bit of a dynasty.
Okay, so did Colorado.
So don't get me this get used to this nonsense.
Okay,
but you got to keep, and that's the thing.
So then, if you guys fired Dubas, get rid of a guy, who are you going to get to replace him, and you take a step back? That's my theory.
Honestly,
I'm saying you're taking a step back.
I don't think that's necessarily true with the candidates I just mentioned.
I would have held the course. I would have kept Dubas. I would have, Keefe stays.
I would have kept Dubas too.
Yeah, I would have kept him, and I honestly, I would have probably kept the core 4, and because they're growing together. It's just a matter of finding a few other pieces to go around them.
Okay, so
they got O'Reilly. O'Reilly was great, but
I think
you looked at him and he was a little slow.
I think he
was a little slow. He's a step behind.
That's okay, but you know what? And during the regular season, he's going to do his thing. I'm still saying this. I'm thinking that what they needed at the trade deadline is they needed McCabe. I think McCabe is going to be better next year than this year.
Oh yeah,
because he tried too hard. Don't you agree?
And
I do. We're like kind of spinning our wheels. We talked about this before.
I don't know if O'Reilly's coming back.
No, it's not guaranteed.
Riley was played phenomenal in the playoffs. He was quiet and hurt for a lot of the season, but he was incredible. Like if he can have that kind of season again, he can lead the team.
I've been whipping on his ass all year. Don't worry.
He shows up in the playoffs though, so
and he was phenomenal.
Jimmy Butler?
He's not a big guy too.
I'm saying he's Morgan Riley, but I'm just saying he shows up in the playoffs, which
he was hitting.
Don't try and put more words in my mouth, Cruz. Come on, what is this?
If you watch the games,
I'm not a Riley fan.
Really?
No.
Oh my!
He was ripping him all season.
He was on fire in the playoffs. He was on fire.
He was our best defenseman by far.
And one of our best players.
He had a reasonable erection. I'll give him that. Okay.
Not exactly where I was looking at him.
Well, I figured that's how he played. I'm not taking away from him because he did have his standing in the playoffs. But he's another guy that's under that contract. He's under that umbrella of those so many guys. So my take is just this, and let's get done with the Maple Leafs. We're taking too long. We're in Toronto because we should be talking about where the Raptors are going to go.
Never take too long.
Well, we got.
That's what I'm saying. But the bottom line is, I think Mellanby is probably. You're right. He's probably one of the better candidates. But I always hope. I have this thinking that Toronto's going to pull something out of somewhere, and this guy's going to be okay. Like when Masai came to Toronto, I'm a basketball guy, okay, and this is a die-hard hockey city. So when they hired Masai, a lot of people said, "Who is this guy? We got some unknown. What's he going to do?" My thing, I seen him with George Karl in Denver, and look at Denver now. They kept growing on that. Like it took them a while to get there.
No, but the basketball people knew that Denver was on the rise.
Of course, and so did Masai. So we made a good steal giving Masai here. But Masai also asked for a certain amount of autonomy that maybe Dubas didn't get.
That is a huge problem because if you have Shanahan overlooking everything and nitpicking all of the little trades and saying, well, we should get this, we should get that, you're kind of losing the whole point of a general manager because now you're handcuffing him in a lot of certain situations.
Especially Shanahan was a guy with no previous management experience. Coming in,
okay,
right?
so what are you guys going to say? Can we end it on this note? You weren't here when we brought this up. The original premise was maybe they should have kept Tim Lewicki around a little bit longer.
Oh, it's not like he didn't want to stay.
Oh no, well I just think
it does come back. Sorry, it kind of comes back to the teachers union back in the day.
But now that's gone. Now it's MLSE. He came in.
What I'm saying, like this same sort of thing where you're handcuffing the people from signing the guys they want because of whatever restraints.
So
now, this is all we don't know this for sure, but it does seem like he didn't have the autonomy that he should have.
That's where we're at. Well, anyways, we're going to find out in the offseason whether or not when they trade Austin Matthews to the Montreal Canadiens, if that's going to happen. Oh, those are terrible rumors.
No, it's okay. It's okay. The Leafs are getting Pierre-Luc Dubois this summer.
If you guys get him, I'll be pissed.
Oh,
I'd be
nice.
so.
I'll buy a Dubois jersey right away.
Oh, I will be pissed. We don't know
just
about
for
that. That guy's going straight to Montreal. But in any event,
Do you think it'll get Montreal out of the, what is it, the very bottom? Were they the very bottom or
bottom
almost?
5?
Okay,
Bottom
listen
5.
to you two Leaf fans.
Okay, I just wanna know
Let's
which-
get to September, okay? I'm going to say
He
this
thinks
to
their
both of you.
Habs are making the playoffs
We're
next
not
year.
only going to make the playoffs. Sir, excuse
which
me a minute.
playoffs are we
I want to
talking
be
about?
saying it here.
Is this the playoffs for another
Canadians-
first-round
Hey,
pick?
draft
hey, we're
lottery.
on the same starting line now. A Canadian team hasn't won the Stanley Cup in 30 years. Why can't it be us? We're all on the same level playing field now, people.
That's not
Nobody's played
exactly
a puck.
true.
What do you mean? We haven't dropped the puck.
I've seen your cat-friendly page.
Well, listen,
I've seen your roster.
We've got some things. Hey, Serge, I'm saying this. You build your team.
They have Suzuki
You build your team
and
with
Caulfield, he's not
and
bad.
Cole Caulfield, yeah,
We're not
he's a good
mad.
kid.
Okay, Jamie, I don't give a shit about that anymore. I'm going with this theory that I've decided this season has changed my thinking about hockey.
Okay.
I don't care about my goalie. I don't care about my forwards. I want 6 Clydesdales back there that can hit and skate.
Oh,
and
too
every
bad,
year
because you
there's
guys
like
got Joel Edmondson and Matheson
they're
back
both
there.
gone.
Oh,
They're
God.
both gone. We're
Nah,
gonna
I
have.
don't buy that.
We're gonna have.
The duster
We're
on
gonna
Edmonston.
have- no, we're gonna have Owen back.
That big duster he's got.
We're gonna have Owen back. We're gonna have Logan
Nothing
Mayu.
wrong with Joel Edmondson. Nothing.
He's
leave town,
a third
Serge,
pair.
come on.
His
He's,
father died. His back broke and ligaments. That's why he was a slow start.
I think he's miscast. I think he's like
you
a third
say
pair
back
guy
broke
playing
or
like
broke
top
back?
four.
I think he's our 6th defenseman if he started broke camp. Because Savard's the only veteran I want to keep. We'll talk
He's
about
good.
Habs. He's
He's
good. That's
good.
all right. But the rest of the guys, no, I want to go with all the kids. And Savard, Lankford, and Edmondson would be our 6th guy.
This has
I
been
don't
too
want
much
that.
Leaf Hab talk. We got to
Okay,
move
let's
on.
go on.
Way too much
Anyways,
Hab talk.
Raptors coaching search. Steve Nash was in Toronto interviewing for the job.
You know what? I'm actually thinking that Steve Nash could be a good guy. He's a great
I got to
basketball
push back
guy.
on that because
What?
weren't you talking smack about him when he was coach of the Nets?
Because he didn't have control. That was Durant and Irving's team. They were telling him what to do.
Why? So let me pose this question: Why, or why does he have control here instead?
I don't know if he'll get that. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
the problem.
I'm saying that maybe his experience in dealing with an insane situation that he had in Brooklyn, the learning extent. Sometimes the second time is the better time for a lot of guys that coach.
I think it would be a great coming home party for him.
I don't
I
want
think
no
it would-
coming home party.
yeah,
I want none of
exactly.
that shit. I want a guy that's qualified to
I'd
do the job.
rather have
He
Becky
knows-
Hammond, honestly.
No, get out of here. No women. No.
What, are you a sexist? Are you a misogynist?
No, I'm just a realist. man. Why should we
You
be
don't want a
these
man
Greg
there? Are you a
Popovich-
misandrist?
Nothing against men or women. I'm just saying she was on Greg Popovich's coaching staff.
So what? She's a good assistant. She's like a frick. What do you call them? She could be a good coordinator. I don't want to be
Isn't
the
she
guinea
coached
pig.
like the best team in the WNBA?
Last time I checked, isn't that girls?
So what? Coaching's coaching. I'm just saying.
I'm saying that, you know what? I would rather have the coach that did LSU. That's running LSU, the one that wears the crazy coats.
I love those coats.
Bring her in, because at least she'd be a little bit hardcore.
Yeah, but like she's probably making way more at LSU than she would in like with the Raptors.
Well, you know what? This is what it gets back to Toronto. You know why we're going to get Becky Ham? Because we're the woke city, and MLSE always has that thing about doing it this way. Jamie, you know this. We had a coach.
It's nauseating, is what it is.
Thank you.
It's
Okay,
very nauseating.
you know that we. You ask Mr. Milani here. As soon as I heard that Yuma Yokota, who got fired by Boston for jamming, whatever, when I heard he went out for dinner, he will tell you I was on record saying we got a coach, we're good. We're laughing. This guy, let's bring him in. I was going to go pick him up at the airport. I was going to pick him up at the airport, okay? The next day, the guy signs in Houston. I went, what the hell happened? And then
Now, hold on. I'm going to push back against the woke narrative because also in Houston, it's a fresh slate. As a coach, that's like, isn't that what you want as a coach? Like a chance to build up your program?
you can do that here in Toronto.
There's some baggage with the players in Toronto, though. We know that.
Get rid of Pascal. That's all I'm going to say.
Do we get rid of Pascal?
No, I'm going to
Yes.
tell you.
No.
Here's-
You
here's
get rid
the
of him.
real thing.
You get rid of him.
Hey, I'm right there with you that I want to get rid of him. But
he's
does it get
not-
done this summer is a complete different question. I'm not so sure
The
that
New York
happens.
Knicks are looking at that way. We
No.
can steal
Oh, can we
something
fleece
out.
them again,
Yes,
please?
we
Just
could
like
do
we
that.
fleeced them
well,
for
that's
Bargnani?
another problem with Masai is that he has trouble making deals now because of the Kawhi, Bargnani, the draft choices, and the mixes that he got. So people are like, he's got a reputation now as like, I don't know, I want to deal with Masai because they think they're going to fleece you.
Well, that was why the whole reason why Lowry didn't get traded to the Knicks because we
Exactly.
fleeced him for Bargnani. So the owner's like, we're not doing this again.
No, they got but they were stupid enough to take him. I remember when he came in, I know he was a superstar right away. When he got rid of Bargnani, I went out and I had drinks. Immediately. Who we should never have drafted in the first place. I wish you were around then. I said we should have taken LaMarcus
Aldridge.
That was a call. I was screaming, take LaMarcus, don't take the white guy.
So Siakam, though, do you trade him for roster players, or do you trade
I think it's
him
going to be
for
like a mix. You probably get it's probably going to be like a package, like a first-round pick and a roster player, maybe like a prospect.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, but where's he going to go? The word is New York's looking at him because New York wants more star power and another shooter, so to speak. So I'm saying this much.
He would fit.
They're getting a little sour on R.J. Barrett sometimes. I'm saying that's a good Canadian boy to bring home.
We could use R.J. Barrett.
That's what I'm saying. And he could develop into the guy. Like, I'm thinking that's a realistic possibility.
Because I think Gary Trent's going to be like a sign and trade candidate this summer. I think he
should be long gone. He's too hot and cold for me. The bottom line is what we have to do is we have to establish whose team this is. So obviously the problem in the dressing room was the triangle between Fred VanVleet, Anunoby, and Pascal. And I'm telling you this much, you can find there's a lot of wingmen out there, but you don't find a two-way player that plays defense like Anunoby, and you don't find a floor general like Fred VanVleet every day. These are guys that every team's looking for him all the time. The guy like Pascal, he came on great in the second half. He's not a Batman. He is a Robin.
He's Robin.
And here's how Robins work. Kyle Lowry is the best Robin going, and he's showing it right now. Like when we won the championship a few years ago, Kawhi was Batman, Lowry was Robbery. Now, if you see what's going down in Miami right now, the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler's Batman, and Kyle Lowry is what? Robin again, the best Robin around. So the problem with in the dressing room, in my opinion, is the coach is going to have to rotate the players better, and then they're going to have to define who's doing what. For example, Scotty Barnes is going to have to score more. Let Scotty be an option. Like Scotty sits back because he's young, and he okay, what about the veterans?
Let him take the
rope. Let him take the rope and let him go. Because what happens with Pascal is, even though he's a good defensive player, Pascal gets moody.
He's very good.
Oh, Pascal?
Very
excellent
good
defensive player.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying he's a good trade piece, because get him out of town. He's already showed a bit of his mettle. Like, he had his bitch moments. Once a bitch, always a bitch to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
I will be happy to see him
t-shirt.
go. I will. I've never been a huge fan of his.
I was.
I would be happy to see him go.
I was a very big fan of him, but that was because I'm saying like he knew his place in the pecking order. All of a sudden he walked in and whipped his dick on the logo.
But pre-bubble though, like kind of post Kawhi pre-bubble, he looked like he was going to be the man.
He looked like he had the potential. But that's what I'm saying. All of a sudden that attitude changed, and as soon as you see someone with that attitude change, I question that immediately, because that's part of your DNA.
Oh yeah.
So now that I see that, like I say, once a bitch, always a bitch. I don't care. And he had that little sulky thing, and then a couple times on the floor, he didn't give up the ball. He went ISO on us a few times because on Pascal. As soon as you start doing that stuff.
That's my pet peeve with the Raptors, when they go too ISO heavy.
Because they don't get along. It's the same thing with the Boston Celtics. Like, they won the game last night. You know why they're not getting along? Because it's the dressing room. I've been saying that for months. Mm-hmm. It's the dressing room. If guys don't get, you see Jaylen Brown? He don't even pass. He's worse than Kobe now.
We'll get to a little bit later when we get to NBA.
That's true.
TFC, a couple things to say. Bernadeschi's getting sat out for tomorrow night's game. TFC is dead last in the Eastern Conference.
Okay, let's even take it worse.
With the highest payroll in the league.
The highest payroll.
Sounds like a Leafs problem.
Okay,
right?
This is why we're bringing up. This is the whole ML. Suddenly, the whole MLSE. There was a good article this week in the paper about it. And that's why I brought it up, because I didn't think about it from this angle. But it's an interesting take. In that being said, is the fact that they're all under one umbrella. Yeah. Okay. Something seems to have happened at the top. That's what Andrew and I were talking about, which is now filtering down to what's going on the field with a bunch of teams that have great fan bases. So I'm saying MLSE, back it up and think about your fan base. Look at Toronto. This year, the Blue Jays, but I mean, that's more with the Rogers is doing their own thing. Now we'll get to the Blue Jays in a bit, but basically...
Well, it's a culture thing. Like MLSE has a culture about them. And it hasn't been winning so far, besides
making money.
Making money is true.
Making money.
But you make more money when you win, don't you?
Exactly. But you see, it's
they're
almost
failing
like
pretty hard on this winning thing.
Okay, well, they made extra money because they had the 2 extra home games already with the Leafs, if you want to go that way about it. But that's not really, we should be thinking about it. What I'm saying is this. All teams in the league, okay, if this is the structure, nobody can see what I'm doing with my hands. Everybody wants to be here with the money, right? Say you're Columbus, okay, or say you're San Antonio.
So you're saying you want a communist league where everybody gets some money?
No. I'm just saying that everybody expects to generate a certain amount of money with their franchise because of their fan base, their TV rights, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is that Toronto is above all these teams all the time because the money generated in the city, the fan base, the media outlets should keep us above most sports teams, even though there's a salary cap, which I think should change a bit in the NHL.
100%.
So what I'm saying is that this MLSE umbrella is looking a little shaky because how do you go from all your teams being contenders to all your teams being in flux in a matter of what, 1 year?
Basically.
1 year.
Well,
in
TFC,
1 year. TFC, well, they were
yeah.
having their issues, but they drove off the cliff.
Yeah.
The Raptors were almost perennial contenders. Now they're shaky, and they don't even have a coach.
Listen, if Kawhi signed again, we could have had a dynasty team.
Oh, of course.
Easily.
Of
course.
It would have just, they could have gone 2-3 in a row.
But Kawhi was asking
Two
for
in a
too
row
much
easy.
either. Yeah, two in a row easy.
For sure.
But but you know what?
Easily, they would have
Kawhi
been a super contender.
I'm glad that we, as much as I loved Kawhi, I'm with Masai. He couldn't bend to where he go because number one is he wanted to deal for Paul George to come to Toronto.
Yeah, but I don't think he was ever going to sign back here. I think he was just kind of playing Toronto, trying to basically
double down on his money. That's what I thought he was doing. Ultimately, would they go this far with the money?
And I think Oklahoma City was kind of playing the Raptors too, trying to raise the price,
course,
right?
Yes, all of that was going on. So
yeah.
I think that's why I like Masai as a general manager. He didn't buy it. That means we would have had to give away 3 or 4 of our young guys in draft choices for what? Like, if people don't understand about the Toronto Raptors, and I sincerely believe this, we're about 2 pieces away from being a contender. Because we've got about 6 or 7 wingmen that can play defense.
There's some kids that are
You're damn right it is. But what happens is on the floor. So I'm saying the knee-jerk reaction is I thought we got rid of Nick Nurse too fast. Or maybe he was a guy in the dressing room not being able to pull it together. We'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my guess because like the offense just wasn't gelling.
No,
you lose a
definitely
team
not.
too. Like coaches lose teams all the time.
Yeah, well,
they just stop listening.
They say the NBA is the worst. Like the losing
there's a lot
teams.
more egos, I think, in the NBA.
100%.
And it's a smaller team, so you got to deal with this many guys who want more dominance. So let's just see what happened here in the last since these playoffs have started. Budenholzer in Milwaukee won a championship 2 years ago. Budenholzer fired. What's the guy in Phoenix? Got Phoenix this close every time. Fired. Monty Williams.
Monty Hall. Let's make a deal.
Okay, he got fired. Doc Rivers, but I don't understand why Doc Rivers got fired because he just can't win a Game 7. So Doc Rivers got fired.
He keeps blowing series leads too.
Oh, that's
how many 3-1 series leads?
Most in history. Most. Nobody touches the guy. In hockey,
that's why the Raptors better not hire him.
In all sports,
oh my God.
He's got the record for all the sports. All the sports. Nobody has lost the way that Doc has lost. So Doc got fired. Nurse got fired. I'm missing one more. But anyway, 5 coaches what would you call it? Have a certain pedigree. Like these guys are all going to get a job again
contenders,
somewhere.
like big contenders.
Yeah, big player.
Good, solid coaches.
But
people want to change it up, and they're looking for scapegoats. So what's the scapegoat?
Okay.
You think the GM is going to be like, well, we lost again. I'm gonna fire myself. Yeah, it's on me. No, it's the blame game.
So let's just
trickles
end
downhill.
Before we talk about, because we want to know what you're thinking about the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll end it on this note, and it's come completely full circle. That's what I am talking about. There's a scapegoat. I think Dubas is a scapegoat.
100%.
You know what I mean? And what has happened here now is I think it was a dangerous time for Leafs to play this game, understanding what they have going up against the salary cap and where these contracts are going. And Jamie, this is not like next year or nothing. This is the next 30 days.
Yeah.
These are franchise-altering decisions that have to be made. My question is, I want to know who's making them. And maybe it wasn't Dubas making them all along. Because I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to take this to my grave. Toronto did too much. But like I said, I'm beating a dead horse.
At the end.
We're beating a dead horse there.
We're beating a dead horse there. But in any event, I want to know, the question is, when I talk about, let's go to the finals in the 2 big sports, is this, is that. I want to know how the networks are feeling. The big network, like ESPN has got their hockey, and they're really pumping hockey.
Well, TNT's going to have the Stanley Cup Finals this year. TNT and TBS, because it alternates.
It alternates. So, do you think TNT is like jumping for joy?
I mean, I'm sure Vegas has a lot of fans.
Okay, no, they don't. They're just Vegas.
Vegas has they're the sexy team.
Oh, I agree with that.
They generate buzz. Florida, no one gives a F about. We know that.
No kidding. Brooks Koepka was there, though. Koepka was there.
Florida can't fill the stadium on a Saturday night any time in the winter. it's
20% Canadians at all time.
Yeah,
20% Canadians
or
at all
if it's like
time.
Bruins or
if there's a big team playing there, then and there'll be 70% other teams, fans.
It seems to be Habs, Leafs, Boston, and what's the other team? Is it Philly?
Probably New York.
New York too.
New York.
Yeah, the Rangers. Not so much Jersey.
Probably Philly.
Yeah, I think it's Philly too. But when they could play
Jersey
in Florida,
has their own beaches, so they don't really need to go to Florida.
But you know what they do
in winter.
But you know what they do there too in Florida too, which I think this is a bullshit in every sport. You know where you get that elite team. So like if they're playing Serge and Cruz, you pay $20. But if you're playing Jamie and Andrew, you got to pay $40.
That's the Uber price range as time goes up.
So that's a
407 does that.
Okay, Florida is notorious for that. So if you go to see a Montreal game,
but we're doing that. Toronto does that too now.
Do they?
All the teams do that here.
It's just a scummy
MLSE
move.
started, I think 2015. MLSE started doing that, and the Jays started doing that like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I know the Jays did it too, but I think that was just pumping up for the New York fans that you're going to get anyway. So they were just raping Americans.
I'd be curious, like, what are the big teams that would come to Toronto? I mean, yeah.
Oh, the Yankees are number one.
For hockey?
For hockey. I mean,
when the Penguins,
same.
they'll pump up the tickets.
Really?
Crosby.
Maybe years ago, I guess.
No, but people still want to see Crosby. Edmonton, they'll pump up the tickets.
Montreal, always Montreal.
Nobody wants to see Montreal, though. Not right now.
No, you want to see them lose. That's why people buy the tickets just so they can come in and say.
That's true. But you know what? I was lucky enough to go to Montreal and watch Montreal lose.
Oh,
Not everybody gets to do that.
My sister's boyfriend went to it was a Leaf Habs game in Montreal, and the Leafs pumped them 5-0. I'm so jealous he went to that game.
Oh, we watched them. We went to see Athanasiu's younger brother play, and he was playing for LA, and they lost in overtime. So it was kind of fun to listen to the collective. When they scored in overtime, it's like yes. Well, in the belly of the beast, and listening to
that's just the way that it goes sometimes. But I'm just saying, I think that what we have to understand here is that in the playoffs in the big sports this year, we've had some amazing surprises. Like if you had told me at the beginning of the playoffs, did any of us pick Florida?
Well,
you had Vegas.
About Florida though. All Pittsburgh had to do was beat either Chicago or Columbus,
and they would
won their final 2 games, and they knocked Florida out.
Could
and it also changes the lottery too, because Chicago wouldn't be in the place that they were.
They would have been, they would have been there.
All because Pittsburgh lost.
All because Pittsburgh.
That is
fucked
to
the dog.
Chicago. They lost to Chicago
and Columbus.
They
Two
lost
of the bottom 3 teams.
Am I wrong? But did they not get pumped by Chicago too?
They did.
Yes, they did. And you know what that just tells me? That dressing room is old and tired in Pittsburgh.
Old and slow. That was the mantra.
Think Crosby's long to be there still? Or,
no. He's going to stay their career now in Pittsburgh.
Think
another
so?
team.
I think so.
I
think he's a career Penguin.
He'll want to one last kick at the cup.
No, and I think that Pittsburgh's not that far away. What they had to do is
they need to completely retool it. They got completely retooled.
They got a few contracts.
What are you going to run on Malkin and Crosby still?
No, I'm saying they've got some young guys. It's their defense. Jamie, I'm saying now it's my theory. Get 6 defensemen. Get 6 defensemen.
Their defense was
their
defense and their goaltending was super shaky.
Yes.
They're stuck with Jeff Carter, who's he was awful this year.
Horrible contract.
But moving on past the Penguins, but Carolina though, holy, I mean, why? Is it just because Carolina's lack of stars? That was the thing that kind of pushed Florida over?
That's my theory, Jamie. I said this. I was on the Carolina bandwagon. I said they were the team most likely to beat Boston and the team most likely to get to the conference finals. I said that a few months ago. The trade deadline came around, and I said, I don't know. Carolina's got no stars. Yeah. So my theory about the 6 defensemen, Carolina proves it, and I jumped off the bandwagon, which just tells you I'm this side of an idiot sometimes. Okay? So you think you know it all, and you really know nothing. So you know what I'm saying? If you check the tapes, Andrew will tell you, I was all over and a Ho and all those guys, and then I got cold feet and said, no, they don't have a star, and Jersey and Jack Hughes is going to get him and all that nonsense.
Jersey looks really good too.
Then I jumped the Jersey bandwagon. Look, what did that get me?
Yeah. Well, you know whose door Carolina's going to be knocking on this offseason?
Who's that?
The Leafs. I think they're going to be calling about the Big Four. They pulled this move before. They traded the Leafs for Patrick Marleau, even though Marleau didn't want to play there. But they were like, "Hey, you want to play here?" And it was like, "No, okay, we'll buy you out, whatever, fine." But
no, I think that they'll go there too because
you think they're interested in one of the Big Four?
100%.
Which one, score?
Because the only one that I can see is Nylander. That would be available.
I think
Nylander's not the guy.
They're not getting rid of Marner. Not a chance.
Well, I think the conversation starts with Matthews. Let's be real, but I think that's a non-starter for the Leafs.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's ridiculous.
I trade Marner personally.
Oh God, no. Not even
Have you
close.
seen us play in the playoffs?
What did he do bad? He had 11 points.
Emptiest points I've ever seen in the playoffs in my life. One of
Yeah,
them was
like
a
his
7-1 game when they smoked Tampa Bay, and he got 4 of his points right there.
And I think both of his goals came from that game, too.
Yes, and that like Guerrero the other night got all them RBIs, and what? The pitch, the outfield was pitching.
I would not get
He was
rid
a
of Marner.
giveaway
I don't like
machine.
to give away Marner either, but what happens is, here's what I have to say, and I've been saying this a while, Jamie, and I know you're a diehard. I'm sitting with 2 crazy-ass Leaf fans. I've been saying this to Miss Merlani all year. What you guys did is you picked up the wrong piece for your team, and maybe that's why Dubas is leaving, because you needed the guy that you knew was going to punch somebody in the head. Who did you have?
We had Kadri, and we let him go. And that was one of the worst Dubas trades ever.
No, that was a shanty move, by the way. That was more shanty than Dubas.
I tend to agree.
That was more shanty.
But there was a trade in place that we'd have gotten like TJ Brody like a year earlier, which I wish to God would have happened. Because instead we got Kerfoot and Tyson Barrie.
And Barrie, yeah. That was a fleecing, if there was ever a fleecing.
Okay, but the bottom line on that is that Shanny was pissed. The word around the campfire was when he got that suspension again in the playoffs.
Yeah, of course he's pissed. I was pissed too.
Okay, everybody
thought he wrote his own.
Now this is the classic Toronto Maple Leafs. Ship him out of town.
Okay, we got to get off the Leafs.
Well, it's like Osuna. Remember they shipped Osuna out for that shit.
Okay, but we're
same idea. He fucks up and they ship him out.
Okay, so just wait a second here. Let's get back to the finals. Oh no, we don't mind the finals here. Do you think that the networks? That was my original question. Do you think the networks are going to be satisfied with having a Carolina, Florida final?
Florida, Vegas, you mean?
I mean, yeah, Florida, Vegas. I think that the ratings are going to be atrocious. All Canadians are going to stop watching. Which isn't our biggest
problem? I mean, the hardcores are going to watch anyways.
Detroit's a hockey city. The Tigers are on a roll. They're not watching. Let's go to Boston. They're pissed about everything. They're not watching.
They're a little sour. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a whole bunch of cities here that are going on, and they're not going to watch. It's like one of the biggest mistakes the NBA's making. If they had a one last night, they're going to wait 7-8 days to get the playoffs going. Then what's going to happen? You're losing your audience. Where's your audience going? First of all, now
that's a completely different problem. We'll get to the NBA later.
Okay,
but I just want to talk a little bit more about Carolina. So, did you see Brindamore's press conference after the series?
I heard he was
in complete denial.
Oh, of course he was, but I read parts of it. I mean, what's that for the team? Was he doing that for the team?
I don't know. The look on his face looked like he was like, I can't believe we just got swept.
Oh, no. He was absolutely devastated. I mean, I think he held up to the mic very nicely. I think
he's very well spoken.
Yeah, but
he was pretty crushed.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the way he was talking and then what was going on inside, I think there was a little bit of, separation, boys?
Yeah, and he just kept saying that, like, we didn't get beat, or like something like that.
But you really look at that series, though, guys. There was about 6 bounces. That was it, and about 8 Boroski insane. What about the one game there at the end of the second period going into the third period? Florida didn't get past center ice. For about 9 minutes, they did not get past center ice. And then we know how that comes after but. And then there was that bounce. What was it? It deflected. Remember the play? They were going in transition, and the puck deflected off my boy from Montreal. Then Kokamini. Everyone was going in Kokamini. The puck bounced up in the air. Guy bounced it to Florida, over to Bennett, over to what's his name in the net. Boom! And Florida had done nothing for 10 minutes. And you look at the shots of goal, 38-16. Okay, when I see the shots are saying 38-16, I think the team with 38 shots is doing something right. But here's the other thing I said at the beginning of the playoffs, and now I'm going to get kicked too. We're the goalies. Well, we got one. And he's going to steal everything now. I don't see Bobrovsky losing now. I think he's going to run the table.
Well, we'll get to the finals later, but also Carolina, they've been swept their last 3 conference finals appearances. I don't know if you saw that. 2009, they got swept by the Penguins. 2019, they got swept by the Bruins, and now this year.
That's right. So that's 3 conference finals and 3... But they won one Stanley Cup 20 years ago, right?
2006, yeah.
Was it 2006?
Yep, the first year after the lockout.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Rod Brind'Amour was captain. It was like Eric Stahl's second season. Cam Ward, playoff MVP.
Yeah, Cam Ward. That's right. And what happened to him? But I'm saying
he was okay during that 09 run.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean, there were some bad Hurricanes teams, though. Let's be real. I don't think Cam Ward was the biggest problem there.
So is like the one thing that we cannot deny about Florida, Jamie, and I've been saying this all year. like the sneaky thing is I'm saying, well, I think that what Florida did was they did their shake-up. Well, like some teams like that, the team we're going to mention again, waited too late to make the shake-up. I think that last year that Florida was the President's Cup. Okay, and they almost missed the playoffs, but they shook their lineup, they made the changes
at
and
the right
gelled
time.
at the right time, and then they gelled.
Let everybody, get used to each other. Yeah, because you have a few guys that are that know each other, and then you have a whole bunch of other guys who are like, I don't know where this guy goes, I don't know his mannerisms, and they don't have enough time to figure everything out. And you can only throw those guys together so many times because you still have two other lines to run.
Point well taken. So I'm just saying that now is that like everyone says, oh, Florida was an 8th place team.
They're not your average 8 seed.
No, they're not your average 8 seed coming off a season where they won the President's Cup.
And digressing though, and especially I think for the defensemen, not knowing systems, like the team system, not knowing where your partner is going to be, growing up playing hockey, it's like I played 5 years, 6 years, 7 years with the same defensive partner, and I wouldn't even have to look. And exactly. I knew where he was. Yeah. So I flipped the puck behind the net, and I know he's there. Off a face-off, I could be looking to the left, and I know where he is at all points in time.
Well,
that's something that you can't just pick up on instantly. You need time to figure out the guy's
so here's
this.
That's a most excellent point. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you look at the President's Cup, winning Florida Panthers, 5 defensemen. Did you know that, Andrew? What? 5 defensemen are back from that team.
Well, makes it. Yeah, the only guy out was Mackenzie Weegar, right?
Yeah, that's right. All those guys, and they matured. Like, look at this mature guy. And they're all big except for him, but you need a quarterback. He's playing the best hockey I've ever seen. I'm like, when did we really notice this guy?
I mean, he had a good start to his career in Anaheim. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, all right, agreed.
I mean, we've talked about how Anaheim gave up on a bunch of their defensemen too early. But, I mean, Florida, they just look like the team of destiny right now. And
I agree.
And I think the guy that's getting talked about the least is Barkov.
Oh, should be. Is he out though now? He got hurt.
No, he's been playing. He
got hurt last game.
He was there for the presentation, though.
Okay, good. Yeah. But he was hurt.
No, but
he didn't play the third period of that game, of the last game. He did not play.
I could have sworn he was out there on the power play at the end.
No, maybe. I don't remember that. But he went out, and then he didn't come back. I didn't see him. Maybe at the end, maybe I was smoking too much, and I didn't notice him, and I had the sound on the other game. I don't know.
But Sasha Barkov, so we went through a time where it was like Yuri Lettinen winning the Selke Trophy every year. Then it was Datsuk. Then it was Bergeron. I think it's like Barkov's time.
You think he'll win this year?
I don't think this year. I think they're going to give it to Bergeron one more time. Honestly,
fuck him. No, they shouldn't. They lost.
Just because.
I'm not saying they should.
Give it to Marner.
I'm not saying
Your
they
boy
should.
Marner.
Hey, I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying that's what I think was going to happen.
I hate that about this. Like you win it on reputation.
The Selke's the biggest reputation award. We know that.
Fuck him. So I hate swearing on the air, guys, but when it comes to the Boston Bruins, I swear about them all the time.
I can't stand the Bruins.
You know my hate. I'm teaching people how to hate. You know how I hate, correct?
Well, I think that's the one thing we can agree on as a Leafs and Habs fans is that we both hate the Bruins.
Yes. Okay, no, I take it one step further, Jamie. It's simple. Yeah. I hate terrorists, I hate pedophiles, and I hate the Boston Bruins.
He's got 2 other versions of that same
joke.
That's
not really suitable for the microphone?
No, it just changes up the teams.
Oh, yes, when it suits me. That's I just, same expression, they're just the little ending changes on it. But I don't agree with that. Okay, what happened was, people don't realize is the Frank Selke Trophy, and you guys are probably too young to remember this, is that...
It was made for Bob Gainey.
You've told this story on there, He's such a great player. They had to recognize what Bob Gainey was doing. So they made this trophy, and then once a guy wins, like, oh, give it to him again. No. I said, he will tell you, Mr. Milani, back at Christmas time, I said Mitch Marner should be recognized as a Selke guy, and he got nominated.
He's a finalist,
He's a finalist, but I said, how long ago did I say Marner?
Oh, beginning of the season.
I said Marner's a guy.
So what do you give for the guy who scores the most amount of goals?
What? The Rocket Richard.
Okay, now do you give the guy who scores like the third amount of goals?
Nothing.
Exactly. So you give the guy who deserves it the award. You don't give it to him just because he's a special candidate or any bullshit like that.
The problem is though, like, who's watching all the games, right? Like, do you have a vote though?
No.
That's the problem. There you go. You're not a hockey writer.
No.
We know the way these hockey writers operate. It's a lot of bias. The Boston guys are going to vote for the Boston guys. New York's going to vote for the New York guys.
We've discussed it for years. The problem works like this. Once you have a reputation, okay? Now, and we'll switch over really quick. You talk about reputation.
Yeah, we got to move on to the Vegas series.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, let's go. We'll talk about it. I just want to talk about reputations. Remember this when we get to baseball. In any event, now that we got the other, we've got Vegas going there, I'm of the opinion, and I brought this up this week, that Vegas is an example of doing this, Jamie, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. Besides the 6 defensemen, where I'm sold on, I don't care about my goalie now, I don't care about my forwards, I want 6 defensemen. However, because of this salary cap is so goddamn tight, I'm of the belief you do what George McPhee has done in Vegas. You get a bunch of middle-of-the-road guys with grit, rubber hitting the pavement, and you pay them all $5 million or whatever.
Although we looked into this last time, and Vegas is more top-heavy. They're more top-heavy than you realize.
I realize they are now, but how did they get here? And Seattle
that's how they
did
started.
the same.
It's easier said than done, to be quite honest. I mean,
it's great scouting.
It's good scouting.
Well, Vegas also just kind of fleeced the league with the expansion draft.
So did Seattle, but
no,
George McPhee.
Not even close. Seattle pulled all these, or Vegas, pulled all these side deals. How many side deals did Seattle pull off?
None.
Exactly.
No, but that was George McPhee, though. That's why George McPhee is executive.
But I think that's the other teams learning from their mistakes with Vegas. Where they're like, we're not pulling this shit again. We're just going to give them our list, and that's it.
And say, shut up, get out of here. Yeah, but McPhee was a better wheeler dealer. Like, he built that Washington team.
But if he came second with that team, you think he would have been able to pull all the side deals? Hell no.
But you think that they would have been able to do that knowing that it's already been done before? Like,
no, he's right. People just shut down. They go, no, we're not making deals.
We got fleeced or whatever.
No, we're not making deals.
And, why are we going to help these guys when they're just fresh here?
Seattle did do this, though, which is the model is, they picked a lot of guys in their mid-20s who looked like they didn't pick the best guy all the time. They were smart. They picked up guys that say, this is how we're going to play. And they went out and found 8 forwards of that between the ages of 25 and 30. None of them make more than $5 million, but they're all grit guys.
Oh, yeah.
They're all grit guys.
Oh, and they addressed so many of their problems in the offseason, too, where they're looking kind of slow last year. Okay, let's get some speed.
Yes.
We can't score it. Let's get some goal scorers.
But they kept that core. And if you look at Seattle, those same guys that they got in their defense last year, 4 of those guys are staying around, and 4 of those guys are over 6 feet.
Well, even to your point with Vegas, all those guys on Vegas have been like mainstays of that blue line for the last few years. And what's the average height of a Vegas defenseman? 6'2", 220.
Yeah. That's their average size defenseman, which is becoming the model for them winning. What do you expect in the finals? What are you expecting? A good series, close series, end of series?
I think it's going to be Vegas in 5.
Really?
I think Vegas is just a more complete version of the Panthers.
I'm looking at it this way, and I hate to say it because I've never had a comrade in my life. I think Bobrovsky is going to steal this whole show. He's just been look at that last series. That's why Brindamore was shell-shocked. There was games there or periods in that thing. If it wasn't for Bobrovsky, they shouldn't have won. Like we said, the shots on goal 38-16.
I got to say, I think Florida's going to take it.
You think so?
Yeah,
I do too. I got a gut feeling.
I've been saying this for a while now. I think Vegas played the league. They kind of just floated by in the regular season. They still won their division, but they kind of floated by, didn't play the role of Bill this year. Exactly.
In the shadows. And now we're here.
Shocked if Florida
I wouldn't
loses.
be. Vegas is a better team on paper.
If Florida loses, I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked. I think Florida's going to win.
I think Florida's going to pull it out too, mainly because I think Bobrovsky is so goddamn hot that the goalie's going to ride it out.
I mean, that's the part of me that scares me. But I mean, on the flip side, Vegas, it doesn't look like it matters who they play in net. They've just been steamrolling through everybody.
Okay. Now before you say that, let's take a look at what you just said there. The top 5 teams in the NHL this year, according to record, 3 of them were the Boston Bruins, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah. So that's 3. Those are the 5 top teams. If you look by record, that 3 of them, Toronto, Boston, Carolina. Somehow Florida beat them all. Are you?
That's regular season.
What? No,
but you're saying those were by the regular season stats. They're the best.
Okay, but still,
which means nothing, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing.
But
just ask the Bruins.
Okay, agreed, exactly. And I'm so happy. We're all happy about that. But I'm just saying, you got to give a team credit. Where you snuck in the back door of the playoffs and you beat 3 already. You've beaten 3 of the best teams in the league.
Oh, 100%.
So you're peaking and maturing after being a President's Cup team last year.
Okay, but if you look at the second, like the last what, like quarter of the season that Florida had. They were playing pretty damn good hockey already.
Oh, yeah. They made a nice run. They
were playing some really good.
Yeah, the last 20 games they came down the stretch.
Secretariat, like that.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what they did. They secretariated their way down the thing because they were no gangbusters. We were talking about them being the biggest bust of the league. If they didn't make the playoffs, they would have been the biggest bust.
I was calling them frauds all throughout the season.
Well,
President's Cup.
I mean, they proved me wrong. But
obviously.
So,
but
who won the Calgary trade then?
Oh, it's got to be Florida.
Now it is.
By a landslide.
Yeah.
By an absolute landslide.
So anyways, out of 3 people here at Chewy's Bar and Grill, I think that the consensus is we have a vote. We got 2-1 Florida. We're going to get back to that. We'll be talking
I'm just saying Aiden Hill has better playoff stats than Sergei Bobrovsky.
But Aiden Hill hasn't had the freaking crazy ass shit that pressures
they
much.
They beat McDavid and the Oilers.
Because the McDavid and the Oilers don't have defense. That's why they beat.
Oh, that's not his problem as a goalie.
Aiden Hill's played outstanding. I think we got to give him credit. Of course he has. He's played really well. He's the only other goalie I can think of. Even though,
but sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we didn't get into this last week. One thing I forgot to mention: Bruce Cassidy, first coach with back-to-back 50-win seasons with different teams.
Oh, that's right. That's crazy.
Insane.
That is a great stat. We should put that. You know what? We got to start doing that, registering the crazy stats in the house that happens.
And Jack Eichel, I think, has put himself in the best player in the game right now conversation, in my opinion.
What?
Have you seen the way he's been playing? He's been going end to end, making things happen like on every shift. Come on.
Okay. Let's just say one thing about this. This is the best hockey I've ever seen Jack Eichel play. But
100%.
Okay, so I agree. So is this going to be like the pitcher on Washington? What's his name that won the World Series? He's got a great contract. His arm fell off.
Strasburg?
Strasburg. How do we know Eichel's not just a Strasburg? Until he comes out next season and scores his 90 points.
I mean, fair enough, but you make your reputation in the playoffs.
Okay, great. And if they get the ring, then who cares? He can do whatever he wants. But I'm saying I'm not sold on Eichel just yet. I mean, I think he's a great player. I thought he was great in Buffalo. I thought that maybe Buffalo shouldn't have traded the guy. But
I think that trade worked out for both parties.
Oh, yeah, definitely for both parties. It's now worked out.
It wasn't working, especially with the surgery thing, though. Like, that was coming.
Yeah.
That's coming to a head. I think they had to get rid of him.
And that's your personal health. So whatever went on there, I'm still trusting Eichel about this is my body, not yours. I will give him that. But I will agree with you. Like, because remember at the beginning of the playoffs, we weren't kicking. We weren't taking the air out of his tires, but we weren't on no Eichel bandwagon.
Oh, I was no Eichel lover. I mean, I'm still no Eichel lover, but
That's
I'm saying.
But I will admit, there's some plays he's made in the playoffs, especially just recently in this Dallas series,
looking
where
fantastic.
he's just his skating alone. I forgot how good of a skater he really is. You know what I mean?
Oh, those first 2-3 strides, boom, he's gone.
Only McDavid. The only one I see take off like that is McDavid.
All right,
you know
Cruz,
what I mean?
I got to bounce.
Okay, good having you, Jamie. I hope you come back
Jamie,
soon.
thank you so much for joining us.
Man. It's always fun being on the house.
The house that happens.
Yeah. Take care, boys.
We're on
Love you again. Be
Spotify
good.
now. Listen to us.
What's that?
We're on Spotify.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh, right on.
We'll get there.
I got to see if I even have.
What do you mean we'll get there? We're on there.
We'll get
All
there.
right.
Someone else.
Well, next time will be hopefully some Argos tailgating, boys.
That's it.
Yeah.
We'll discuss that.
All right. Take care, boys.
Okay, be
Ciao
good.
for now.
Be good. Well, that should transition away from the hockey thing because speaking of Florida, we have.
Well, hold on. I got one more thing I want to say.
Oh, yeah,
about,
we should do that. I always cut you off. I don't mean to, and I got a set of notes here, but I'm not going to get into anymore because we talked too much about hockey.
The Jamie Benn suspension, or the hit, I should say. We should lead off with. What do you want to say about that?
You can see my face,
but the audience can't.
This is the most inconsistent rulings from the NHL I've seen in years. Like, can they get this straight?
Well, you know, George Peros and Jamie Benn are buddies, right?
Point well taken. Okay, so my thing is this.
Well, first of all, if you haven't seen the play, Jamie Benn.
Oh, I seen the play.
Well, maybe our listeners haven't. So Mark Stone kind of fell down running into Jamie Benn, and Jamie Benn just sticks his stick in the face. Cross-checks Mark Stone right in the face on the ice.
Okay, I want to know what Mark Stone said something.
Well, I mean, he is that kind of player apparently, but
So that's reputation. Bunting never did anything. He got suspended.
That was his first
3 games.
suspension.
Yeah, he got 3 games. And what did Ben get?
I know a guy who's been fined multiple times.
How many games did Ben get?
Just 2.
Come on. What do you think was worse? What he did to Stone or what Bunting did to Buddy? What was even worse?
For
what was
sure.
the other one? The other one that we're missing, that guy got nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having the brain fart.
There was just one. There's just
the one we talked about. Yeah, got the fine. They never even reviewed that.
No,
when was that? Oh, we'll get back to it. The house that happens forgets again.
This Ben hit was just like so ridiculous. Like a complete defenseless player on the ice. Cross check to the face. 2 games. And Ben was such a bitch about it afterwards. He's such a coward. He was just like, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. Oh, yeah, buddy, great captain. Put it on your teammates to talk about it. And Pavelski, I'll give Pavelski all the credit in the world. Had all the right things to say, but he should not have been put in that situation by his captain of all people.
Okay, so I'll take it one step further. Then as soon as Ben comes back, I want to see Stone take a swing at him. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see, because Stone's no angel.
No, hell no, he's not.
Okay, we know that, so we don't know. And you know what? I think that, in my opinion, I think that Ben could have got him worse. Ben's not a dirty player.
He's done some questionable things.
What?
He could be a son of a bitch.
I want him on my team.
Sure, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I mean, he's the guy who's been suspended multiple times.
I'm not feeling sorry for Mark Stone.
I'm not. That's not what. It's not about feeling sorry about Mark Stone. It's about justice.
Okay. Then if we're going to go to the justice point of view, I think that maybe he should. I don't know. I think that the fun was fine. I'm just thinking that when you compare it to other things that's going on in the playoffs, I think the inconsistency of all
it's
is
ridiculous.
Just it's like,
it's ridiculous.
Like, you know, if you line up the 4 or 5 times in the suspension, how about they going there? If you were from another planet. Yeah. And you showed every one of those plays, and you see the justice, that person's confused. What are the rules in hockey is what they'd be saying, because there is no consistency. That's what drives me crazy. Now,
and that and the Ben cowardness really bugs me.
You think it was cowardice?
100%.
I don't know.
Just
that,
answer.
but I think
just all you need to do is put out one thing. I lost my head. I did something fucking stupid.
Yep.
I regret it. I let my teammates down. I let blah, 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 blah. That's all you have to say. I'm not taking questions about it. And then just walk away. That's it. Not just like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. Walk away. Like, what the hell is that? You're the captain of the team.
No, that was, especially when you're wearing the C, I got to give you
Come
the credit
on.
on that. But I'm expecting, if this series, he's served both games now, right?
No, he's still got one more game.
Oh, it is one
He's going to
more
miss game 5, too.
Well, I think the series is going to be over
in Vegas. 200%.
Yeah. I don't see that going any farther than that, which I really wish it does, because I want to go back to this old school thing where I'm just saying, let's just settle it on the ice. You don't see about enough of that. Like, they're already talking about, like, in the other series about Nurse getting suspended, about the instigator, because it was less than the last 5 minutes or whatever that rule is for doing that. Buddy was asking for it too. That's a fine line. Okay, Nurse went all the way, but he was a monkey on the play.
It pisses me off, though, because, like, the instigator, like, they don't call it, and, like, now all of a sudden you decide it's an issue? I don't know.
That's what makes it sketchy, is because Buddy was entertaining Nurse. It wasn't like Nurse just said, I'm going to go get you. This guy was chirping, too, so I don't know how they determined that. So you're calling Vegas in 5?
In the Stanley Cup final, yes. I think I'm with you. I guess they take both series in 5, so yeah.
Well, we should be over. Okay, well, I think that's anything else you want to say about the hockey situation? There's so much to do.
We'll take this into NBA. I guess, what do you want to lead off with? Boston, Miami?
I just want to look at the whole the whole thing about the NBA is this. The NBA is star-driven.
Yes, sir.
I think that they've given us some atrocious hockey games this year, especially that are marquee. Games. And I'm not sorry that everybody and their brother knew that they wanted the Lakers and they wanted the Celtics in the finals. So, my take on the matter is this.
I'm not upset that's not Lakers.
My heart bleeds purple piss for both those teams. I have no time with it. I think it's great that we've got some new blood. I think it's going to be a very interesting series because both teams are going to be hungry for a shot at this. Jimmy Butler, who better win tomorrow night, is already declaring it's their season. But I find the most interesting thing is that Jokic is now going to, if he can win this, is now going to move up on the Panthers with his 2 MVPs and a ring. You have to give this man credit as being one of the perhaps I don't know, I'm talking about all timers, like all-time big men, big man. Like, where is he going to place there? That's 2 MVPs is nothing to sneeze at. But if you get 2 MVPs and you put a ring on it, that puts you in the next pantheon, doesn't it?
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's the jokes that he can't jump 2 feet and he runs about as fast as a snail, but his basketball IQ is something else.
Top notch.
You know what I mean? What he has done. But as good as Jokic has been, and this has been his best playoffs ever because usually he's failed in the playoffs the last few times. I'm saying the straw that stirs that drink is our boy from Kitchener, Jamal Murray, who's proving that he is a playoff guy. Remember him in the bubble?
Yeah.
He almost took him all the way there, then he blew his knee out, and it's taken him all this time to rehab his knee. But every time they've gotten in this playoff here, every time they've needed that shot, it hasn't been Jokic, even though that little raindrop is working. It's either Jamal Murray makes a shot or the most underrated pressure shooter, I think, in the NBA, and that's Michael Porter Jr.
Yes, but I would argue they're getting those looks because they're guarding Jokic so hard down low.
So they're collapsing on him and leaving him open? I think now that they should be smart enough coaching to adjust. You can't leave Jamal out there like that. You have to switch on.
It's a pick your poison kind of thing, though, don't you think?
Oh, I don't know. I think the Lakers made a mistake because they didn't bang him enough. I think Anthony Davis, who played very up and down in the series, I think he should have been a little bit more physical.
What'd you say coming into the series, that he owned Jokic?
He did own Jokic, and what? In some games he did here too.
But what was I telling you, though? Davis was looking a little soft coming into these playoffs.
He is the enigma because some games he looked like the best player on the floor, and the next game I had to go and find him. That's what I don't like.
100%.
That's what I don't understand. You're in the NBA. You got LeBron James. You got legacies on the line here. You beat the Golden State Warriors, which he had a very good season. A sweep is a sweep is a sweep is a sweep. So there's nothing the Lakers can say about this. They played some good games. Like I said, I wish we could have seen one more game because 3 of those games were tight within the last 5 minutes.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Especially those games in L.A.
Oh, yeah, they were unbelievable. But who made the big shots? Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr.?
Yeah.
I want Jimmy Butler to win. I want Jimmy Butler to win because he's been the type of guy that brings his lunch pail to work.
Yes.
He's never sold out at anything. This problem is with the injuries because he plays so hard. But it would be nice for a player like him to win the championship because he has no, what would you call it, extracurricular nonsense except for his attitude, which is good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that attitude wins championships.
Oh, yeah. The whole problem with him in Minnesota was that Wiggins and Towns were not on the same page competitively as him, right?
Obviously, Wiggins learned his lesson.
Well, I think you just had to get him away from Towns. I think having those two young guys, we're kind of like, not to get back to Leafs, but with Matthews and Marner, maybe it's that kind of same kind of dichotomy.
Could be.
Yeah, but like you have a couple of young guys, they get a little too comfortable with each other. They start to goof off a little bit too much.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
You know what I mean? I'm saying this. I was talking this week to some people, and I'm always wondering if Jimmy Butler could have hung on a little longer and they had drafted Anthony Edwards. Can you imagine Anthony Edwards playing with Jimmy Butler?
That's a lot of fun.
They would have won the championship in damn Minnesota.
I'll take even further back. Imagine if Derrick Rose hadn't had the knee injuries.
Those Bulls teams with
Joakim
Noah. And who else am I missing? It was Joakim, Rose, Butler, and Butler was a young buck there coming in. Showing his thing there, playing tenaciously. We're missing somebody else.
Was it Luol? Luol Deng, or did he?
Yeah, Luol
Deng
was on that team too because he was the shooter, definitely. But I think this is going to be a great playoffs. My joke is this: I'm wondering how how does the networks feel about a Denver-Miami final?
Probably not too great. Not as good as they would have felt. ESPN would have felt about Lakers Celtics.
Or I think LA and Miami.
Sure. I mean, but Miami's looks like they're going to be in there. So
okay, but I'm looking at it this way. I think that's why we don't respect teams enough. And let's get back to the Memphis Grizzlies.
And on that point, no one is giving Denver any credit, despite them getting their first sweep and finals appearance in franchise history.
Yep.
Everyone's just focused on LeBron. Oh, is LeBron going to retire? Well, we all know the answer to that is going to be hell no. Come on, people.
Okay, so that's what really irritated me about the matter because they're going to go to the finals here, and as you were saying, a lot of times people were saying Mark Jackson and what's his name didn't know what to say. They were like surprised.
Did you see the picture I posted in the group?
Yeah.
How funny was that?
It was pretty funny, I have to admit. But I'm saying that when you make it to the NBA Finals, you should be good credit. And Denver's a good team, and they've been knocking on the door.
Very good. They're the number 1 seed.
There you go. And not only that, they got a 2-time MVP, possibly a guy that almost won his 3rd MVP, and a great supporting cast. And everybody's forget about this. Aaron Gordon has has played the best defense against LeBron James in the last 5 years, statistically speaking. So let's give Aaron Gordon a shout out and the deep Denver bench. If you don't have a bench in the NBA, you're not winning. Or your bench has to score when the time comes.
Denver's kind of just playing like
8 guys.
8 guys? I was going to say 7. I thought it was 7, but
they're playing 8 guys.
Even then, it's not like you don't even need to have like that deep of a bench. It just really comes down to your top 8 or 9 guys come playoffs.
I think that it would be better to have a couple of more, because then you have a guy like LA had in that Walker the fourth guy.
Oh yeah.
When you have an extra guy like that, it plays for depth at the end of the playoffs, because I don't know, these are supposed to be the best trained athletes in the world. They say get tired playing 3 or 4 times a week or whatever bullshit that I hear. I think that they should be in great shape. They should be playing every other night, no problem. So if you only got 8 guys playing, that's still what? That's 30 minutes a guy, 35 minutes a guy. You're making millions of dollars. You can't play 35 minutes a night? Come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to go to work every day. You got to go to work every day. And we're not getting no 35 million a day.
I wish.
Even the other guys who are making $1 million. You're going to get it. I think it's going to be a very, very good series. I really do. And what really, and I think as a diehard basketball player, I'm going to watch every second. But I'm going to be interested.
Finals?
Yes, but I'm going to be interested in seeing where the ratings go.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of mid. I predict.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, just because of the geography of it.
Well, I don't know, because people don't realize this. Denver's a big city. It's a relatively big market. It's top 10 market.
But they're not going to draw like Boston or Golden State or
Golden State only drew in this now. If you had gone back 15 years ago, Golden State was nothing.
I get that, but this is now. This is Golden State now.
Like
we're talking about.
Like when New England came
100%.
Okay, I got it. So they'll become a marquee team, and everybody loves you.
Denver can become that marquee team if they win.
I think they should. They've been knocking on the door.
Yeah, but they're not that now. We can agree on that.
100%. And they lost to the Lakers in the bubble. Remember that?
Conference final, yeah.
Yeah, when
it's the same Final Four teams as the bubble.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Crazy.
Except we're getting different results, though.
I love it. Well, maybe not in the East, but actually, speaking of the East, we can get into that.
Well, the thing is, what do you believe? I don't think the odds of coming back from 3-0 is just astronomical. We know that.
Boston is the best and the worst of the NBA right now, where they're just like too much of a make or miss team. And I mean, like, I don't know. Am I supposed to believe that they're going to just catch fire again for 2 more games?
No. But I'm saying this much. Miami better close the door tomorrow night. But I'm going to say that
if it goes back to Game 7, I think they're in trouble.
Huge. But the crazy thing about it is I'm trying to get everyone to understand this, is that Boston should have the ability to go into the control the paint at any given game. I heard.
With their bigs, hell yeah.
And their bench with the Williams guy coming off and resting Horford, like they got some big boys. I heard Charles Barkley say something, and this is why he's on TV, because he said, "People, basketball works like this. If you look on paper, the Boston Celtics do have better players and a deeper team than Miami. So on a given night, if your best players play better than their best, if all your players play on an equal level, Boston should win." You know what I mean? It's the energy. And another thing is that Boston got to that quick start last night, and Shaq said about their defense. And another thing that Barkley said that I've noticed for years, and everyone should notice this: if a team starts scoring, you pump your D.
Yep.
Your D goes up. If you start missing shots and nothing's going in, you start thinking about your shots and you forget about your defense.
Well, and even just whatever, just from like a game management kind of, or whatever, however you want to phrase this. If you make your shots, you have a chance to get all your guys set on D. You don't have to worry about like scrambling. Oh, who's covering who's covering this guy?
Exactly, and that's the difference. And Miami wasn't making their shots last night. They were all over the board. I think what happened was this, and this happens in a lot of sports. Miami loves to celebrate. That's a Pat Riley thing. And and we're going to see it tomorrow when they win. They were going to pull some shit out Miami last night, and I think that maybe what happened was Miami, or the Game 4.
Yeah.
I think they got ahead of themselves a little bit. So when they were going back to Boston, I've watched sports for 50 years. For Boston to win Game 5, not surprised. Not surprised. For then when Miami wins Game 6, that's just going to be the way a playoff series have gone in a million sports, a million times, a million ways, so to speak. You know what I mean? All I'm hoping is this. I want a great final.
100%. That's why we watch.
All the nonsense is about the NBA and good, bad, and ugly is going to go there. But I want to end on that. We could take a few more notes, but I think there's nothing to be said until we figure out whether or not Boston's going to win. I mean, if Miami's going to close Boston out.
We'll know tomorrow night.
We'll know tomorrow night. But before we go, there is an interesting thing I have to bring up about the NBA, and it has to do with the fact that my boy is Ja Morant. And before we go, I just want to be on record as saying this is something that I'm starting to agree with to look a little bit more. Did Ja Morant do some of the stupidest thing you can ever imagine?
Oh, yeah, we've been through this.
I'm saying now that the suspension is coming up, and I was wondering what the depth and breadth of a suspension should be. I never thought I'd agree with J.J. Redick on everything, but I think that anything more than 20 games is over the top.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this last week.
But now that it's coming up, did you hear some of the furor of some people saying he should miss a season?
Oh, yeah. We talked about this last week. Yeah.
Well, no, I've just noticed this week on the shows, like, people are amping it up. Like, let's make an example of this kid. Wait a second. He didn't do anything illegal.
Yep.
Didn't do anything wrong. Nobody hurt. Nobody died. So anyways, at the house that happens, I'm not speaking for Andrew, but I'm speaking for Cruz, and we're still sticking up for Ja Morant.
I'll agree. He should not.
He's got to get a slap, but not no 40 games.
No.
Not 40
Somewhere
games.
in the 20.
Well, you know what I heard? He got 8 for the first time. Why not double it? 16.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, I could see the NBA being like, okay, it's a little bit more than double, 18.
As a guy that has a future maybe being the face of the franchise, I think that he's going to get more. But one thing I want to say before we leave basketball, here's what I'm really hoping is going to happen. If Denver Nuggets win the championship, I hope that the Joker whips out his dick and lays it on the goddamn logo. Because the guy won 2 MVPs, and I've never seen an MVP guy take so much disrespect. Agreed?
Oh, yeah.
He takes a lot.
Excluding from yourself.
Okay, but
you're making all those great White Hope jokes earlier
I agree,
on.
But I'm now, and we're all allowed to have a little humor in the matter, but when it gets down to it, a man gets a ring, respect is due where respect is due. And I'm going to say that if Jokic does something completely insane the minute he wins the championship, I'm expecting it from him. I'm expecting something we're not. I'm expecting
he's Serbian, so.
Well, I'm not. I didn't want to go there, but I'm just going to look at it this way. I'm expecting a Kucherov kind of.
Oh, okay. I can get behind that.
Like something like that is going to happen with him, and all we're saying is this: let's just hope we have a great series, and
that's what it's all about.
And end it for the. And hopefully we can forget and move forward with all the atrocities and stupidities that we had to deal with the NBA this year.
Yes, and speaking of atrocities, how about them Toronto Blue Jays?
Well, we fortunately are looking up right now, and we're seeing our not-so-great closer coming in. What is it, 4-1 there, bro?
3-1.
3-1, and we're in the 9th?
Yeah, bottom of the 9th.
Bottom of the 9th. Let's close this out, because guess what? I will give the Blue Jays this. We just played some of the toughest teams in baseball that we lost to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Still, you lost.
Losses. So let's do a review here. Let's do a little review. What am I saying? I've always said this when the season started, that I was glad that we improved defensively because we had clown show in the outfield at that time, and we've gone
in the corners especially.
Yes, all right. But I was, after about 10, 15 games, I kind of said, I'm worried about the hitting. Did I not say that, bro?
You did.
Now, I'm of the belief that we gave up too much offense, and it's not, the defensive part is not balancing the boat. Is that the good way to phrase it?
Yeah. I mean, part of the problem is just our hitting with runners in scoring position. You got to figure that's going to go up. Because it's stupid low right now. It's not going to stay that low.
Okay, so that means what they've done is...
It's got to go up. Just mathematically.
Okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of a doubt there. So here's what I'm saying. If we pull this out, which I'm knocking, what are we doing? We're back to 2 games over 500. We've only played 50 games. We win 8 of the next 10. We're back in business, okay? You know what I mean?
Oh, but they got to be hot this stretch.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to do it because now if you're playing lesser teams, you got to win. I'm disappointed at home because I'm going with the old baseball axiom. Play 600 at home, 500 on the road, you'll get a division.
I mean, they could still do that.
Oh, I think they can too. And I'm thinking that the pitching is holding up better than I expected. I was the one that was a little questioning our pitching. And it's interesting that you said that some adjustments need to be made in the bullpen. And I was looking at some numbers, and you've got a point. Because the bottom line is, Romano's out here tonight.
Yeah.
If he pitches tomorrow, I don't want to see him till Tuesday, Wednesday next week. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, every
Swanson
time.
as the closer?
What's that? Swanson to bring him in. And we brought the kid up from
Pearson?
Yes, he's throwing. He threw 102 the other night.
I think Zach Pop should be used in more of these high leverage. Because he's got the velocity to be a eighth inning kind of setup man.
I agree too, and I don't think they've used him enough. They've used Garcia more, and I think they should back off on him before they freaking burn that guy's arm out.
Yeah, he's. I think he's lost his high leverage card.
Okay, but I mean, if they use Pop a little bit more, I understand that. We're going to get there. What my biggest concern is two things.
Simber's coming back too, so.
Oh, that's great. My two biggest things concerned about the Blue Jays right now are this. I really believe that they're in trouble with this defensive thing because now Espinal is out. So yeah. I'm always bitching about, I want my shortstop and my second baseman to play a bunch of games. Now, we here at the House of Happens have always said, we're with you, Bo. We'd love you better as a second baseman.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, we've been saying that forever. And their defense seemed to tighten up with Espinal. How long is Espinal going to be gone? They're not saying. He's on the 10-day.
Yeah, so probably Merrifield's going to be our second baseman.
Do you really think Merrifield's a second baseman, bro?
No, he's a utility guy.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. I'm going to take it full circle now. I would rather have a little less defense and have Gurriel coming off the bench instead of a Biggio. I'm going to take it one step further. I think that they really wanted to get rid of the Latino party in the dressing room. I'll take it further. I would rather have Tapia coming in than Biggio because Tapia is playing in Boston right now and he seems to be rotating through their thing pretty damn good. So think about
Biggio. That's like he's just been
terrible.
I don't think anyone thought he'd be this bad though.
I remember I was hoping for him.
I was too.
But now
we were talking about this is his last chance. All that.
No, he'll be if he continues like this. I'm expecting
he's going to be sent down to the minors.
18 months he'll be out of baseball. You got to be able to hit a breaking ball.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now we've got...
he can't hit.
Okay.
He can't hit.
Okay, and they don't have a defined position for him as a defensive guy, so he comes in all over the place. The only thing he's got going for him is he's got good speed. He's still the lanky guy. He can run. But he's killing us. Like, I'm really of the...
He'll get a walk every once in a while, too, but that's about it.
He's got empty
I'm just
stats.
saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I got you. Okay, so now here I'm going to go back to my original bitch. We gave up too much for Varsho, and Varsho has got to swing for the dome. Bro, I know you've been sticking up for him now. What's he hitting now? 220? 190? Whatever.
209.
Okay, it went up. He was down to 196 a couple days ago, and I went,
scary.
oh my God. But here's the great the great juxtaposition. Our Kiermaier guy is still hitting 300, and he's not a 300 hitter.
No.
However, it's nice to have him in the ninth hole.
Best number 9 hitter in baseball.
Right now he is. So what I'm saying is that I don't know how we're going to rotate these guys in now because I'd like the idea that Espinal was going to be the everyday second baseman. We had 4 fielders that we could rotate around so everyone could get their at-bats. But we gave up now. We gave up. Now let's talk about this seriously now. This Marino kid is the starting catcher in Arizona. He's hitting 300, and his numbers are a little bit low, like empty on the fact that he doesn't have a lot of RBIs. He doesn't have a lot of RBIs
the
or extra
power
bases.
numbers aren't there.
Are really there. But one of the things that you pointed out, and I did check this out today, when you combine that with his defense as a rookie,
he's number 1 in throwing out runners from the catcher position.
And that's amazing because we're in a track meet right now. Do you know that someone right now is leading the league we pulled out the win,
won.
Yes.
Yep.
But do you know that somebody is leading the league in stolen bases right now? Has got almost 30 bases. Do you know that a couple years ago that the guy that led the league in stolen bases had 40?
Yeah.
Around 40?
Insane.
So someone now, what is that telling you about the change in the game? About this not being able to throw over to first. These are the little things that alter baseball that I'm not always happy with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, guys just take off now because they know, first of all, the guy can't throw over anymore. And if you're a slow delivery, Merrifield's taking advantage of it. Merrifield's got what?
Yeah, and to the point about Moreno before, I think part of the thing, too, is that the Diamondbacks, I think they've done a really smart thing with this development. They're like, it's the pitchers calling their own games there. So it's like one less thing for him to think about while he's kind of like easing his way into the league.
But he's great on like the blocking, the pitches, and moving around. Like he's really, and he's a bigger. I keep forgetting he's a pretty big boy.
Yeah, it's all my nightmares about that trade basically coming to fruition.
That's my whole thing about it. I mean, I'm glad we got Varsho. He seems to have the hit for the porch.
If the thing about Varsho is that what if he finishes with like a 750 OPS by the end of the season? You're probably singing a very different tune.
I would be happy with that.
There you go.
I would be happy
even
with
if
that.
Even like 720, 730, I'm sure we'd be all happy about that with his defense.
With his defense, yes. I'm going to get there. But
and his power.
But I'm saying now, we went through a stretch here. This is insane, bro. Six for 80 something, was it? I've never seen a number like that in my 64 years being on the planet where you can say to me, a team did what in those 80 at-bats? That's terrible. That means nobody's hitting. And I think out of those 6 hits, Vladdy got 3.
Yeah.
I think it was like, I couldn't believe it.
And he hasn't been hitting the best lately either, which is kind of surprising that he was the guy that got it done there.
Yeah, well, it is there. But he's okay. He's still hitting his 300. His power numbers aren't there, but he's scoring runs.
When he gets down to 2 strikes, though, he's been
hacking.
Yeah, it's been bad.
I don't get that. But here's another thing I want to say about him when people get reputation and stuff. How did Vladdy get the Gold Glove last year, first base? Can you tell me that? Do you see? I mean, he tries hard, and he's in and on.
He makes it look good. That's probably why. It looks good on video.
You know what? There's at least 3 or 4 games this year that he's given up a third out. Where as soon as we didn't get that third out, something bad happened afterwards.
Well, that's usually how it goes.
Of course it is. It's the karma there. But in any event, when I just want to talk about around the league, the American League East, once again, which we're going to keep bringing up, it's just an insane division.
It's a gauntlet.
It's unbelievable where we're going now. Just you realize this now, we won tonight. If we were in the division of Minnesota, we would have moved into first place in that division.
That used to be in my pipe dream when I was a youngster. I was like, maybe the Jays will get into the Central one day.
Oh, yeah. Well,
change place with the Tigers.
Yeah. Well, I always hated that the Tigers went. Back in the day when I was young.
They were in the AL East.
They were in the AL East. That was the greatest.
Up until Tampa Bay
came into the league, and then they had to split it, and away they went because Tampa Bay obviously was more an East team than Detroit ever was. Like, they got compromised there, but that was a great division back in the day. All they took out Tampa Bay and put in Detroit, and those were the famous battles going on. But my thing is, before we talk about Toronto now, because we're at the 50-game stretch, and in a month we'll be talking about All-Star break. Are we going to be able to turn this around and make the playoffs? Because I think if we don't make the playoffs this year, it's a colossal failure.
I mean, the one you really got to talk about here is Manoah, too. His production has just been god-awful.
Okay.
5 more bad starts. I think we got to really talk about
I'm giving him 5
him.
more. I'm giving him 5 more because, you know, the funny thing about him is this. I'm going to say it again. Buddy, run the stairs. Go do the Roy Halladay thing, the Dave Steve thing.
Or talk to your teammate Ryu, who just lost a bunch of weight.
There you go. Like, do it. I mean, like, all you can see is mechanics are gone. What did he do the other night when we were talking on the phone? How many walks did he have? I said 3 or 4, and he was right up to his 5 walks. Okay, yeah. Okay, so last year he was known for not walking guys. So when you're walking, what is that telling you? Control and mechanics. Does he look bigger than he looked last year?
You tell me. You've been banging that drum.
Okay, and I don't want to say that because I love Manoah. I love him. But can you say this right now? He's the worst starter on our team 100%, right now.
100%.
That's crazy.
And he's supposed to be our ace.
As a Cy Young nominee last year, and now he's doing this. This is scary. And he's what? He's only 24, 25?
Yeah.
We can't give up on him or anything like that. I think he's going to move around.
I'm not suggesting anything like that, but maybe he just needs that kick in the pants, you know?
I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe when Rio comes back and threatens his spot in the rotation.
Maybe.
I want to
get into that. We're past an hour and a half here.
Okay.
Ryu, they're talking about a potential comeback. He lost a bunch of weight, like I alluded to before.
I seen him the other night. He looked good. And I didn't recognize him at first.
I know, right?
Yeah, it caught me. Oh, is that real? Oh, that's real.
And he's targeting a comeback at the end of July, or post All-Star break, basically.
So what do we hope to get out of him? 15 starts? Who's going to not start then?
There's going to be an injury.
Don't say that. Knock wood.
It's the realities of Major League Baseball.
Oh, well, I've got it. But so here's where we're going to go. This is where I'm going to give Toronto Blue Jays their saving grace. In this 6 for 86 fiasco of runners in scoring position, winning 2 of 11, we still had a bunch of quality starts in there. So I'm going to keep that. It was
bullpen and hitting that let us down.
Exactly. But we still had Gozman got a wasted quality start. Barrios had a wasted quality start. And even our fine Japanese Kikuchi got in his 5. Gave up 3 and they got him out, but still he got his 5 and 3 and still a quality start. They got him out. We lost the game anyway. Afterwards, the bullpen blew up and we didn't get anywhere. So I'm just saying this. When we're talking about the trades here and the surprises in baseball, the Arizona Diamondbacks have to be one of the surprises because I'm beginning to believe that the other toughest division in baseball might be that NL West.
Yeah.
And San Diego, who spent all that money, is doing nothing. There's 3 or 4 games under 500, and they're supposed at the beginning of the season they were considered top 5 rotation in baseball.
Top 5 everything in baseball. Let's be real.
What's wrong with them? I could tell you 25 things, but I don't want to go there because then I'm going to be insulting certain things about the culture of baseball, which I don't want to go to. However, there definitely seems to be dressing room problems. Soto, what's happened to him?
Oh, his bat's
that generational baseball player looking like the next Ty Cobb, and ever since he's gone to San Diego, he has been an abysmal baseball player. Like people talking about him, the best player in baseball.
And they traded a king's ransom to get him.
I think he'll come around because he's too young. Maybe
I think
he's
so
trying
too,
too
but
long?
I mean, if you're a Padres fan, you're shaking in your boots right now.
Oh, like you're what? You're 12 games behind the Dodgers. You're last in the division. San Francisco has righted their boat. They're moving forward. Arizona is a shocking team to be playing, holding up with the rotation. The Dodgers are the Dodgers.
And they got more money than Jesus.
You got it. So what's the other team I'm missing in that division?
Colorado.
They're out of it. They're one of the teams already. They're done. Yeah, I should have it right here. I have this in front of me. I really believe that Colorado, it's really sad though when you think about it now. We're talking about June 1st coming up and already Colorado's out of it. Cincinnati's out of it. Washington shouldn't even be allowed to play. Oakland is just, my God,
people are
that's
talking about
insane.
Oakland as one of the worst teams of all time.
Ever. This is up there. Yeah. Kansas City Royals, I don't know what their problem is. Their season's already over.
People thought they could be on the up and up this year, too.
Oh, they were supposed to be about a 15-36 with a run differential of -73.
Yikes.
They're done. That's what I'm saying. Isn't it sad when your team is done? Now, I want to give a big shout-out to
they're
this.
past done.
I want to give a big shout-out to me that the most surprising team in baseball, besides the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Pittsburgh, who now have come back to earth because they played some real teams, and they're only playing 500 ball. I'd like to give a big shout-out to my Detroit Tigers, who have risen up to be almost a 500 baseball team, bro. Have you seen that? My beloved Detroit Tigers are 23-25. They're only 2 games behind Minnesota, who lost tonight. So the American League Central, which is arguably the worst division in baseball, why can't we steal one?
Oh, no, you definitely can.
Okay, well, we'll see.
We got a little present here from the proprietor.
Oh, that's... Jay, I'm on the air. I want to appreciate the fact I just seen the hat right now. This is pretty badass.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. No, my granddaughter is actually braiding...
The mic was off.
My granddaughter's actually braiding my hair
He's getting a haircut so he can wear it.
No, I'm going to get my hair braided this week.
He's going to braid it.
Jay, if you're listening to the show, very cool hat. Very cool. I appreciate it immensely. I will find a way to rock this hat one way or another. But before we go, there's just a few odd things that we want to talk about before we go, dedications and get back. I want to ask you something because I know you're a Premier League guy. I seen a 19-year-old kid this week beat Manchester City with a rocket. Does that mean this kid's going to be a superstar? Have you heard of him?
Could be.
He's 19. He played for, who did Manchester lose to? Which I can't even tell the team. This guy put one in from 30 yards in the top corner that had that little red dot on it where you know that's where it's going to hit. And I'm always fascinated about Premier League soccer. When you see a guy kick a ball like that and you're 19 years old, that's got to say you got a future. This is like when you seen Messi come in the league. Remember when he was a kid and he'd rip those shots?
Yep.
You know what I mean? This kid ripped a shot. I was wondering if you heard of him. I had his name written down and I can't find it.
And Cisco.
Is that his name?
Yeah, he's 5'6" from Paraguay.
And he's 19, right?
He's 19.
Is he only 5'6"?
He's only 5'6".
His legs are massive.
Oh, I mean,
his legs
to get to
are
that
massive.
level of
I
soccer,
thought he was taller. Like he just let it rip. I'd say a good 30 yards out. It was a laser top corner. Nobody moved. and they were showing like one of the goals of the week. But the thing about it, the kid was only 19.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get him to play for the Toronto FC?
I mean, his future might be brighter than the MLS.
Okay, but I think the MLS is going to get money along the way. Another thing I want to shout out about, and I think that we didn't get to do this last week. Did we get to talk about the PGA last week?
A little bit.
Okay, well, I want to let everyone know that I did win the pool.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I haven't got my money bit yet. People go, what'd you do with the money? I left it in there because you pay for pools anyway, right? So, I mean, I got to pay for football pool. I got to pay for the next two things. But in any event, I just want to let everyone know, if you want a chance to get in on it, if you want to know who the winning team is that I picked one Canadian and I picked the wrong one. I picked Mackenzie Hughes. He's the only guy that did make the cut. I thought about Connors, but there is a salary cap in this.
Okay.
So as my son pointed out to me, I probably couldn't get Connors in because he was more money than Mackenzie Hughes. But my team consisted of Brooksy, who won it.
Yep.
The guy from Finland, Hovland, who was top 3.
Yep.
Morikawa, who was top 12. Morikawa top 12. Scheffler, not the guy that came in third, the Xander Scheffler guy.
Oh, okay.
He was top 15. And everybody, I got in trouble for this because I picked Varner the third. He just happens to be black. So I got a little bit of ripping from my thing that says, oh, you had to have a black guy and you have a Canadian. So what? I won the money.
So my thing about that tournament is, how funny is it that a Live Tour guy won the PGA?
Because they got, you know what they're going to have to do? I think it's great to do it because Brooksy is a PGA guy. When I put my pool in for the U.S. Open, he'll be the only guy that I'll be taking the same. But now I'll go back to Rahm and Scheifele if I get them under there because they're U.S. Open players. But Brooksy played great. Remember, he was right there in the Masters and he choked it on the last day.
Oh, I remember.
Okay, so he's real deal. And he's still crying about he should never went to Live Tour.
Well, what it coulda, shoulda. You took the bag, buddy.
So would you cry when you seen your bank account?
No.
Shut up.
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Just go. Shut up
exactly
and go.
my point.
How are we going to go about getting points for that? And will they be Ryder Cup eligible? Like, they're pretty strict about this stuff. They're not going to be there. Now the majors are saying everybody can come.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this is going to go, especially with I'm going to say it one more time and then we'll not bring it up anymore. Is if you only play 54 holes instead of 72. How do you compare world points? That's the problem I'm having.
Yeah.
But we'll save that argument for another day. One more thing we want to bring up.
Well, a few more things we want to shout out.
Okay, keep going on. We're going to save the special one for the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, shout out Monaco Grand Prix this weekend.
Oh, that's what I wanted to get in first ahead of yet.
Saturday is going to be the big fun one tomorrow. Qualifying race is probably although they're calling for rain, so it could be a fun one.
You know what I like about it? I can't wait to have Max do his interview after. I love Max's interview. He's the greatest. Why are you talking to me? Should I be talking to you? Who are you? Get out of my face. He does that more politer than any big-name athlete in the world. For sure. Like, I mean, he don't even like you. No. He doesn't even want the microphone in his hand, and he looks right you in the eye and says, and is polite. Thank God he had good parents, because he's polite about it. But come on, you see the guy.
Well, he's Dutch. They're polite.
Okay, yeah, kind of like Canadian. But look at him. His demeanor, though, come on. Is that what makes him a great driver?
I think it has to. And I mean, like, word around the campfire is that, like, he's not going to stay in F1 he's a little bit sick of the sideshow. He's just like a pure racing guy.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I really hope he's going to be one of those guys that goes for the Triple Crown, like the Indianapolis 500, which is also happening this weekend. Shout out to that, the Great American Race. I hope he's like one of those guys that goes for, like, because I believe he's won Monaco before. So, like, he goes for that, the Indianapolis 500. And
Daytona?
No, Le Mans.
Oh, Le Mans. Okay, Le Mans. Okay, I'm gonna say,
why would he be a NASCAR? I wouldn't be surprised if he
wouldn't drop that low. That's ghetto. Come on.
I mean, Kimi Räikkönen's raced in NASCAR.
That's money. He's getting paid. So, okay, agree. But come on, you're the guy that got me turned on to this. I can't even look at NASCAR sometimes now. Now that I've been following Formula One, I look at NASCAR and I go, really?
I watch NASCAR. Really? I have a little bit of trouble following it, though.
Me too.
If that makes any sense.
Well, they lynched my ancestors. That's why I'm not impressed with them anyway, but that's another story.
Shout out Memorial Cup. They're starting tonight.
Yes. London looked very unhappy losing to Peterborough the other night.
Oh, does London ever look happy when they lose?
Yeah, my heart bleeds purple piss for them. I'm happy for a traditional great junior hockey team like Peterborough.
Shout out Peterborough Petes, Quebec Remparts, Seattle Thunderbirds, and of course the host Kamloops Blazers.
Hope it
with Fraser Minton, Leaf prospect.
There you go. I hope it's a great tournament. I will be watching.
And shout out Team Canada, going to be playing for semifinals tomorrow against Latvia. There was a few big upsets in the quarterfinals.
That caught me off guard too.
It's completely Sweden, Finland are out. Who would have thought that?
Great, that's easier for us.
Exactly, a U.S. versus Germany on the other side. So I mean, it's going to be a golden opportunity for Canada. Don't blow it, boys.
Okay, so one thing, do you know who his starting goalie is for the Canadian team?
Remind me.
What? You don't know who the starting goalie is?
Was it like Jake Allen or something?
No, his buddy. Our other goalie.
Oh.
He's outstanding. Have you seen him? He's one of the reasons we're there. Say his name. Put some respect beside that guy.
Was it Montembeau or something?
Yes. Yeah. He's our starting goalie. He's the starting goalie for Canada. He's been playing great, which is just going to bode well for my other theory that the Montreal Canadiens will be making the playoffs next year, because at the house that happens, we keep tabs on the Habs. Got it?
Double IHF and NHL, not quite the same, but
okay.
I dig the enthusiasm.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to take that to the bank. Same way as I'm still kicking Detroit Lions new fans. I'm stepping on their hands. I got to get a new pair of shoes from people climbing on the bandwagon. Broke my shoes.
Shouldn't you be welcoming new fans?
No.
You don't want any new fans.
No.
What about the kids that want to jump on? Hey,
if you are under 20 and you are learning about the game, and I can help you with some history, I will give you a seat temporarily.
What about a 25-year-old that's just finding out about football?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to check his pedigree. I'll give him a test.
So what's the cut? So that's like anyone above 20 you're testing.
You got it. Because I'm going, I don't think so. You know what I mean?
I just like to see where the line is, you know?
Did you notice what I'm wearing tonight?
I did.
I'm wearing this all summer just to let everyone know, because when they say something, I smack them immediately. I'm not taking no prisoners here. Remember, we're taking out kneecaps. You heard Campbell?
Oh, I know. Best press conference I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, well, there you go. So we're not there, but we want to digress. But is there any other notes you want to say before we end this?
I think there's just one final.
I think that we have to say this, because if anybody knows this, and I'm getting it a lot, maybe in the future I'll do it, but when everyone heard that I was doing a podcast for The House That Happens, everyone assumed that there would be some kind of music involved, because I believe that music is life, and I'm an absolute music junkie, and everybody knows that. So with that being said, I think that we would be absolutely remiss if we didn't take the time to have a dedication, tribute, or whatever you want to say, to one of the greatest lead singers who happen to be female, Anna Mae herself, the great Tina Turner.
Yes.
I want to say things that about a little bit about Tina Turner before I go, because everybody remembers the great comeback in the 80s. With all those hits, the Thunderdome, the tours.
That's what I think. I think of Mad Max.
Okay, everybody has got that. But what I want to know is that, and I hate to bring him up because there's also that little side story that we got to deal with Tina, which no woman should have to deal with. But if we all know that, I would suggest anybody, if you like some boogie, soul, move your ass music, go back and check out the Ike and Tina Turner albums of the day. They're absolutely fantastic. My one story about Tina I want to say is that when I was a little boy, this is when you know you're a boy. We were watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and on came Tina Turner, Ike and Tina Turner Review, and they were doing the epic Proud Mary by CCR. When them girls started dancing, I started feeling funny. I was little at the time. I don't know why I was feeling funny.
How old were you?
10, 11. Okay. But I was feeling funny watching this video in a good way. I don't know why I was feeling funny. It probably took me about 18 months to 2 years to figure out why I was feeling funny, because the energy, performance, and singing of Tina Turner was unmatched, and it still is.
Yes.
The dignitaries in rock and roll have been bending over backwards shouting out to Tina Turner. I think it's the saddest thing since my boy Jeff Beck. We lost him a couple of years ago, and we just lost Gordon Lightfoot. It's sad, but nobody lives forever. But we just want to say a huge, huge, mega, simply the best
House That Happens shout out
to Tina Turner. Anything else you want to say there?
I think that's the perfect note to end off on.
I would like to say thank you for Jamie Friedman for putting in his 2 cents. We'd like to hope we get him again. One of these days, we're going to have Serge Singh sit here for the whole 90 minutes, which we stretch longer.
One day.
One day.
Maybe it'll be episode 100.
We're interested to know all the seepage that's got in here because we do have a live band playing a lot of stupid songs, but we will get away anyway. But in any event...
Shout out. I also want to mention, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. You can now listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio, a bunch of other ones now.
Okay,
as on top of Podbean, YouTube, and SoundCloud, as usual.
Thank you. Can I do a little personal shout out myself?
Go for it.
Mrs. Milani, I'm looking forward to meeting you. Every time I hear about you and your, what would you call it? Your sports acumen and your attitude, I think that you could sit on the couch with Cruz and watch a game.
Okay.
Big shout out. We'll get in the mini. In any event, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
Thanks for listening. We're out of here.